Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing Podcast. This is your host, Mr. BDA, broadcasting to you live from the true north, the humid north at this point. Wow, there's a heat wave here right now where I'm at in Canada, and let me tell you something, I can handle the heat. Humidity, on the other hand, it's a whole other ball game. But you know what? As Teddy Atlas says,
we're firemen. Okay. We are firemen. The heat doesn't bother us. We live in the heat. We train in the heat. Yeah.
That's right. We train in the heat, play in the heat. Some of you might kill in the heat. I don't know. I think Pavel gives me the impression that he's a bit of a serial killer type guy. Guys, thank you for joining us. If you want to join us, you know the drill. If you want to join us via Google Hangout and talk to us, go to Google Hangouts and send us an instant message via the email address on top of your screen, boxingdebate@hotmail.com. That is boxingdebate@hotmail.com. Don't forget you can download the podcast on Spreaker. Don't forget to give small donations, small tips via the Super Chat feature and on our Patreon page. Check it out. It's a good day. Got a couple of fights. The show is probably gonna last about an hour and a half. Maybe a bit less. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna have some things to do, some business to take care of. Some business. So again, guys, thanks for joining us. We got Recognize the Matrix, Rod Rook Davies, Subhash Kunwar, The Scholar B Major, Joey Ocean, Top DVSN, Luke Peterson, Mario G, and many more to come, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Mario G. I wasn't sure if that was his real name. But thank you for joining us. And Mario G says, hello, degenerates. I gotta tell you something. That is, you got a good point there. There's a BDA podcast, bunch of degenerates.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals out here.
You probably heard that little pause of mine because I wanted to find the right soundbite. And by the way, yes, I said fucking. This isn't there's gonna be there's a lot of swearing in this show. If you're new to it, I know it's lowbrow, but that's the way we do it around here. I bet Pavel has a cellar in his house, says Maddie Claire. Now, is that the thing? Is it a cellar that's more convenient for hiding your victims, or is it a basement? Every time I watch documentaries about serial killers, it's always the basement or the crawl space or something like that. Shout out to Brandon White, Maddie Claire. Alright, so since we don't have a lot of time, or as much time as we would like, I'm going to start sending some of these invites right away. Again, if you want an invite, go to Google Hangouts and send us an instant message with the email address that's on the top of your screen, boxingdebate@hotmail.com. There's a lot of guys, a lot of you out there already know the drill. So let me start out by sending these invitations. I don't know, you tell me, are you excited about Gilberto Ramirez tonight, just to see how he looks? The guy's in a bit of a bad position. He has no one to play with. In the PBC, it's all the top super middles are either with the PBC or Eddie Hearn, and I don't know if Eddie Hearn wants to share with Top Rank or vice versa. I don't know. So you guys tell me. Then again, there's high possibility of entertainment tonight with Ramirez because he is a bit of a standard boxer. He will come in on the inside, fight coming forward, tremendous right hook to the body. Defensively, he's not. He still has some things to work on, and the fact that he doesn't seem to set up his shots properly, or he doesn't seem to adapt. It was in his last fight against, I always forget the guy's name. I always confuse him with the other guy, Michael Douglas, the guy at light heavyweight, Jesse Hart. This is Jesse Hart, super middleweight. Ramirez did very well in the first couple of rounds, and then he just, I don't know, he lost his rhythm or something. Also, credit to Hart, he was able to make some adjustments that threw him off for a loop. But I'm not all that completely sold on Ramirez. I'm just not. So I want to see more. The guy he's fighting tonight does not represent. You know what? I haven't even seen the guy fight, so I don't know how good he is. I'm doing the BoxRec thing at this moment with Saucedo. Is that the guy's name he's fighting? Angulo. Romer Alexis Angulo. I haven't seen any of his fights. Haven't had the time to watch as much boxing as I wanted to do the research. But he's got 23 wins and 20 knockouts. I'm going to tell you something, guys, about these Colombian fighters. They come out of Colombia, the jungles of Colombia. the cocaine-infected jungles of Colombia, and they hit hard. I don't know what they're eating over there in Colombia. I've said it before, but they are some of the hardest punches that boxing has ever produced. That being said, they've never produced an all-time great fighter. And I don't know why that is. Maybe somebody can come in later and tell us their opinion on why there's never been a great Colombian fighter. There's been a couple of good contenders, maybe even some title holders, but they can't stay consistent in their performances, and they end up losing or getting knocked out. They live by the gun and they die by the gun. Shout out to Corruption in Boxing, who says Ramirez may get KO tonight. Not a lot of footage of his opponent, but he is heavy-handed. Exactly, that's you gotta be very careful with these Colombian guys. And I see we got Recognize the Matrix on the line, and we're bringing back the intros.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
Recognize, thank you for being on the show. Always glad to have you on. Did you say there's a heat wave in New York as well?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, man.
I
guess it's affecting the north, right?
Oh man, let me tell you something. I suppose New York and Montreal are similar, right? We're both surrounded by rivers and lakes, and so that just sends the humidity rising, right? Recognize, did you hear what I said, or?
Sorry about that. Say that again?
No, I won't say that again. What do you think about that? No, yeah, I was saying that New York and Montreal are very similar, right? In that they're surrounded by the rivers and lakes, and so the humidity always spikes up at this time of the year.
Oh yeah, it's all about the humidity in the summertime.
What about the girls over there in New York? Now that it's hot, are they putting less and less clothing on? Is that how it works?
In New York, they dress the sluttiest around the time.
Now wait a minute. Are you slut shaming? Is that what you're doing?
Oh no. I'm all for slut walks.
That sounded very fucking dirty the way you say it. Like, oh yeah, I like the slow walks. What's the matter with you? It's a family show.
No, I'm saying I enjoy it. I'm a married man, so I don't mess around. But,
that never stopped any of us before.
He was banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time.
Anyway, listen. Hey, by the way, 100% X is in the chat room saying that you are a devil worshipper. No, Pavel is a God worshipper, and Recognize is a devil eater. Oh, I think he meant the opposite.
Yeah,
he fucked up there a little bit, huh?
Yeah,
Well, that's 100% X for you. Who knows what? Rule number one when you're in his type of business is never get high on your own supply, and obviously he's not respecting that one.
I think he breaks all those rules. Yeah,
he breaks all the rules. All right, so we got people
getting high on his supply.
We got people in here. Oh, hold on. You know what? Let me send Corruption. He's in the chat. I'm gonna send him an invite. I forgot to send him one. Who else did I forget here? Well, anybody else that wants to come in, you know the drill. Just send me an instant message on Google Hangouts and we'll take care of you. But, all right, Recognize. Let me tell you something. Let's get down to boxing. Not that much to choose from tonight. We do have Gilberto Ramirez against this Colombian guy, Romer Alexis Angulo, who's 23-0 with 20 knockouts. There's also a pretty nice undercard fight with, hold on, let me check out who it is. It's Alex Saucedo, undefeated fighter he was born in Mexico, now residing in Oklahoma. He's 27-0 with 17 knockouts, and he's taking on Leonardo Zapavigna. Most of you might remember Zapavigna as the guy that went to war against Lipinets and ended up getting stopped. But he's a come-forward fighter, very strong. He's like Costa Azul light, not as talented, not as hard-punching, but he's very strong. He comes forward, and this Saucedo kid, he comes forward himself, classic Mexican style. Yes, I said it, Mexican style. So we have a couple of good fights, but Recognize. Let's start off with what I said before with the Colombians. Oh yeah, and Lasky saying Conlan too is going to be fighting. I think didn't he fight already? Hold on, let me check. I'm all over the place here.
Who's this?
No, Michael Conlan, I think, already fought. Or he's fighting right now on ESPN Plus. Because it's taking place in Northern Ireland, so I'm assuming that it's about to start now, or it's already started. Again, this prospects, I don't really want to watch them all that much, until they start stepping it up. I mean, I'll rewatch the fight later on, but anyway, Recognize, like I was saying, what is it about these Colombian fighters that are very hard hitting? Well, how come? Where do they get the power from? Is it just the way they're taught? Is it in their genetics? What's going on here?
I think it's La Bandeja Campesina. You ever heard of that?
No, what is it?
It's a country plate, right? There's a famous Colombian restaurant that I always go to. I order that plate, and it makes me feel strong. So I think that's what it is.
What is it, like liver and organs, or like what's giving you all the strength?
No.
I'm being serious, man.
No, I'm kidding. But it's a wonderful dish. But my point, yeah, you're going to your point. I don't know. They're just power hitters, but when they're fighting in Colombia, most of them. I mean, obviously we've had some good Colombian fight. Well, not many, but Uzcategui is one that comes to mind, right? That's where he's from. He's from Colombia.
He's from Colombia. He trains in Mexico, I think.
Oh, that's what it is. There you go.
I mean, no, I'm not saying.
Some of that Mexican atmosphere is.
Some of the Mexican meat. Yeah, people in the chat room are saying it's the Coke. Poe Johnson says it's a Coke. BDA. Foulpole Boxing reiterates. He says it's the Coke. And then Joey Ocean continues saying it's the coca leaf they chew when they train. I don't know if that's true or not. Anyway, listen.
I tried it, so I'm not gonna. But yeah, I don't know what to make of this kid. Never seen him fight, and from the way I understand it, most of his fights were in Colombia. So is he going to be one of those guys that, if given the chance, can show that he's a good fighter at the very least? I wouldn't be surprised. Is Gilberto Ramirez, is he gonna finally like, start fighting better fighters? Is that gonna happen after this fight?
Well, if you remember,
this fight is a good fight. We just don't know that about Angulo.
Yeah, if you remember,
we had that yet.
Well, that's the thing. We had that debate. Well, actually, it was Stu and Precise. They were having that little debate about how come Ramirez didn't join the super middleweight tournament from the WBSS. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's Top Rank that doesn't want to play ball. Maybe it's the other way around. But right now he doesn't have a lot of people to dance with. A lot of top. I mean, there's top people in the division, but they're all either with the PBC or with Hearn and. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but what is your opinion on Ramirez?
So far, I mean, look, he looks pretty basic, although, we still haven't seen him against a really good fighter where they give him problems and then you can see more skill set. A lot of these fighters show you basic stuff because they can get away with it with the opponent that's in front of them. So it's hard for me to. It's still hard for me to say. It's hard for me to say that he's a hype job or he's the real deal. I got to see him or at least have a performance where you see something different from him. And he wins big. Let's say if he goes in there and knocks out Angulo, in 3 rounds. We might say Angulo was nobody anyway, but if he does it in different fashion than we're used to seeing him do it in, then, at least for me, I'm going to say, maybe there's hope for Ramirez. We just need to see him in there with good fighters. We did see him in the ring with this kid. What's his name? Jesse Hart. Is that his name?
Yeah.
And I thought he clearly won the fight. I was kind of impressed by his performance in that fight. Yeah, the fight was good. Remember, the guy is undefeated. I don't care if his resume is not that good. To still beat an undefeated fighter who hasn't lost and go through some. I thought he went through a little bit of adversity and still pulled out the fight. So to me, I'm not 100% sold on him, but I don't think that he's a hype job, or I don't think that he's wasting time. I mean, he's still young. I think he's 25 or 26 years old. Top Rank is a pretty good promoter, so I'm sure they have something lined up for him today. I hope he does something different in this fight and wins at least dramatically, like by knockout or something.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Top Rank is one of the best at bringing fighters up. With Ramirez, they've been taking their time for I don't know what reason, but he's 37 now. He's fought some pretty good fighters: Jesse Hart, Arthur Abraham. There was one guy. Was it? Hold on. I think it was Maskiv. No, who was it? He fought some some Eastern European fighter who was pretty loosey-goosey, type of style. A very good upper body movement and awkward. And Ramirez had a lot of trouble tagging him. Then against Jesse Hart, he did look strong in that fight, even though he's ran into some problems after the 6th round, I believe. But look, he does look like he's improving. He's not as slow as he was before. He's setting up his shots a little better, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a loss down the line against. Because look, I'm gonna put the super middleweight rankings up on the screen. We have Jurgen Brammer at number 10, Chris Eubank at number 9, Caleb Truax at number 8. He's still a pretty decent boxer for any, or a decent test at least for anybody. Hold on a second. Yeah, okay, so Caleb Truax. Anthony Durrell, I still think he's pretty good with a mix of speed and power. James DeGale, who a lot of people feel is done. Uzcategui, who made the other Durrell quit. That was a very impressive performance. Benavides also looked very impressive against Gavril in his last fight. Beat him up. It was only Gavril's toughness and conditioning that got him through that fight. Callum Smith, I'm not all that impressed with him. Then you have Ramirez at number 2. I don't know why they have him number 2. And then Groves at number 1. Okay, recognize. Let's say Ramirez and what's his name, Groves were to fight right now. Who would you favor in that one, or how do you think that one goes? How do you see it going?
Going by Groves' last performance, I would take. Well, not just his last performance, just in general his career and what he could do in the ring. I would take Groves because of experience, of course. I would take the experience of being in big fights and already having taste defeat and adjusting from that. I think that he will give Ramirez problems that an inexperienced fighter like Ramirez, who hasn't been in the situations that Groves has been, I think that favors Groves and he wins the fight. I think that it would be a good fight too. Ramirez is not a scrub. He does some pretty good things in the ring, so I just don't think he has the experience, man. I don't think he has the experience that Groves has, the kind of names he's been in the ring with.
So you're saying just based on experience and the fact, like you said, that what he's gone through, obviously that's experience, like the fact that he's had his ups, his downs, and he's a pretty good fighter. Yeah. You think that's enough to offset Ramirez, what Ramirez brings to the table?
Well, at least, yeah, that's what I think. I think going in, I think the intangibles of going through some of the stuff that he went through early in his career, and being where he's at right now, I think that adds up to a win for him. For me, I would have to pick him to win the fight. But then again, we don't know. I mean, we don't know how he's going to react from an injury. Injuries are different, or fighters react different sometimes to an injury. So maybe they're not as strong as they used to be. I
tell you what, man. The undercard fight looks like it's going to be the best one. Saucedo against Zappa-Vigna. But Ramirez versus Alexis Angulo, that one might prove to be as explosive. Again, Colombian fighters, we don't know what they bring to the table. Apparently, like Corruption said, there's not a lot of footage of this guy out there. So we don't know how good he is, whether he's fast-handed, whether he's completely slow, whether he's going to crumble at the first sign of pressure. So it could go either way. If you like surprises, just keep watching this one. But, keep your eye on that one. Also, Joe Smith is fighting tonight, but it's not being televised by any network, I believe. So this is comeback fight.
Fighting, Joe Smith?
Some guy. Hold on. Melvin Russell. Melvin. That sounds like the name of the guy who used to sell drugs in the corner of my street, Melvin. Yo, Melvin. Hold on, let me see. There's not even... I just wrote his name on Google, and it's not even the first... I had to write Melvin Russell boxer for it to come up. All right, it's some 39-year-old guy. Look at this. I'm gonna put it up.
Some bum they picked up on the street.
Well, again, I haven't seen him fight, but you look at his record, and I think Melvin Russell, 11 wins, 4 losses, 7 KOs. He's 39 years old. His nickname is the Romantic Redneck.
Yeah.
Is that the most awful?
Are you serious? The Romantic Redneck.
That's his nickname. Is that the most awful nickname?
A guy named Romantic Redneck. I would definitely be afraid of a guy like that.
Oh, absolutely, man. That sounds like something out of Deliverance or something, man. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's probably just to make Joe Smith look good and knock this dude out, and then get him a big fight. You know, I would like to see him fight. Shit, who are we talking about? Yardy, whatever the hell his last, however you pronounce that last name. I would like to see them fight.
Did
Just
we
to see where Yard is.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I remember it was you. You did a video talking about Yard, and I think I left a comment saying, you know, a nice test, a litmus test, I guess, to see where he's at would be a guy like Joe Smith. I think that would be a good fight because you said, yeah, he would definitely pressure him, you know.
But that's the
He
thing,
would at
man.
least pressure him.
But that's the thing, like Anthony. I don't think we talked too much about Anthony Yard last episode. I don't think we had the time. But did you end up watching his fight, or?
I always catch highlights of his fights because he's a boring, like he's just a big muscle dude, you know, that palm smacks his opponents and they're hitting the floor, which means he's strong. He's really strong. And so no, I haven't really watched a fight from the beginning to the end with him. But a lot of people are not sold on him. If there's any fight that could, you know, I know they won't take these risks. I mean, that's not the way boxing is done today, or maybe it wasn't done like that at any time. But they won't take a risk of putting him in there with a guy like Joe Smith Jr. and then let's say he gets blown out. Right? What do they get out of that? They get nothing. You know, he could be like a Shannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs, I remember this. I remember this clearly. He fought a guy named Darrell Wilson or Darnell Wilson, one of the two. A guy that got knocked out in the first round by David Tua later on. This is when Shannon Briggs had that big muscle body. You know, always on steroids since he was younger. And he was just knocking out bums. They put him in there with a decent fighter, and that was Darnell Wilson or Darrell Wilson, one of the two. And he got knocked the fuck out in 3 rounds, Shannon Briggs. So Yardy could be that type of person. You know, he could be, in fact, I'm kind of betting that he is that kind of fighter. I would take the bet that as soon as you put him in there with somebody like Joe Smith, who's going to punch him back, and is going to punch him back to hurt him, that he would get knocked out. But I think today, because of the past, you know, the Shannon Briggs and other fighters, a lot of these promoters have learned from that, and they won't take that risk. They will never put him in there with a Joe Smith unless they were 100% sure or close to that percentage that Yarde was going to win the fight.
And that's interesting because Yarde, if that's how you spell his name, I don't know. But let's stick with that one. He didn't have a big amateur career or anything. I think he only had like 20 fights, maybe less. So he's learning on the job. He seems to be a quick learner. I like how he looks. He has a couple of neat tricks up his sleeve. But like you said, look, it's Frank Warren who's promoting him. Frank the bullet dodger, Warren. And we don't, you know, he's gonna really baby this guy because he doesn't have that many names in his roster, and so he's gonna try to play this one safe and up the opposition. He's been up in the opposition at least, but Joe Smith, like you said, he would have to look really bad for Warren to go, hey, you know what? I'm pretty sure my guy could beat him. Let's put him in there against because hey man, Joe Smith can crack, man. It doesn't look it when he throws his slow ass punches, but he catches you with that overhand right. Yeah, he put Hopkins to sleep. Yeah, some people say, well, from Farah already got knocked out, so that doesn't really count. But he put Hopkins knocked him out of the ring. He dropped Barrera. Again, other people might say, well, Barrera, he gets dropped as well. But you can't argue with the type of power the guy has.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got he definitely got good power. And like you said, he's gonna bring the fight to Yarde. You know, so he's gonna give Yarde, whatever the hell his last name is. He's going to give him opportunities to counter and show off his power if he knows what to do with it. You know, just to get like just a litmus test to see where he's at. You know, I don't know if they'll take chances like that, or maybe I don't know what's Chavez Jr. doing these days. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, maybe they can pull him out of a Taco Bell or something. Yeah, pull him off the Taco Bell and put him in the ring. That would be that wouldn't be a bad fight. It will be a good litmus test. But like, look, listen, people. First of all, people in the chat rooms. I mean, Real News says there is a fight with Romer Angulo versus Surik Dansdian on YouTube from 4 years ago, and Angulo looks like a very low-level fighter. Corruption Boxing says BDA. It's probably your neighborhood drug dealer putting down the scales for a set of gloves. Yeah, that's probably how they do it down there. Jay Perez says Romantic Redneck sounds more like a porn star surname. I should have used that surname when I was performing back in the day. 100% X says Yard is a UK bomb. Tell Recognize he doesn't know shit. Oh, well, there you go, Recognize.
That's cool.
Joey Ocean says Warren the Bullet Dodger. LOL. The Shepherd of Sun says Yard. Shepherd of Sun says Yard has little to none amateur experience. They ain't put in Yard in with Smith. Of course, yeah, I think that's, again, like Recognize said, unless they're pretty sure he can beat Smith, which would preclude Smith looking like shit in his next couple of fights, I don't think they're gonna put him in there against the guy. It's Yard, says Joey Ocean, but spelt Yard. Okay,
yeah,
so
okay, it's Yard, yeah.
It's Yard, okay. 15 yards.
I think he's Jamaican, and if he's Jamaican, it's Yard.
He's Jamaican me crazy with his fucking surname. All right,
Jamaican, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. That joke didn't make sense. Jay Perez says Chavez Yard would be a good test. Oh, by the way, speaking of fatsos, Recognize, did you see that video from a couple of, I think it was a couple of days ago or a week? Chino Maidana, how he's looking these days?
Dude, he's a house. That dude is big. He's fat as, yeah, fat, you know. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised with this dude.
Oh, okay. I thought you said, you meant surprised, you said.
No, I'm not surprised that he blows up in weight.
Oh, okay.
Chino, because you know he always had that look in the face. You could tell that he's a guy that gains a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in good shape, he's not like he was never like really muscled up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, I'm not surprised. He's enjoying that money he made, the Mayweather money.
Is that what happens when you get money? You just get fat afterwards?
I mean, if you're not training like you used to.
Well, he never liked boxing, by the way.
Good Argentinian food.
Oh yeah, that fucking Argentinian barbecue that we talked about in a couple of episodes ago. Yeah. But Recognize, that's the other thing. The guy never really liked boxing, right? I think he said that a bunch of times.
Well, I don't know if he said that, but his background, you know, look, Argentina is a huge. They're huge in football, right? They love soccer, right? So he's one of those guys that probably loves soccer, and on top of that, you know, got into some trouble. I think he got shot before, you know, probably just knows how to fight. Mm-hmm. So it was easy for him in Argentina to exceed a lot of expectations there, and then make it to the pro level, right? Because he was tough enough. He knew. I'm sure he probably got in there with a lot of good fighters over there in Argentina to that level, you know. So Maidana was like this thug that turned into boxing, and I'm not saying he's, you know, like he's a degenerate piece of shit, but I'm saying he's like you could tell he likes to fight. He got that face that, you know, tells me this dude used to get into a lot of fights. He's very slick with his Spanish, you know, like if you understand Spanish. You know, I can remember when Mayweather was like, I beat Maidana, you know, this and this and that. He could say what he wants. And he's saying in Spanish, of course, nobody's picking up on it. And he's like, he goes, he beat me. Look at that. He goes, look at his face compared to mine. And he beat me.
Oh.
And they're like laughing. They're like Robert Garcia and them laughing. And then there was another time where of course, they made Mayweather look good. Mayweather said, I'll bet you my whole salary versus your whole salary that I beat you in the second fight. And Maidana said, like, you got to know how to pick up the slang in Spanish. You know Spanish, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you go back to it, he said, I already beat this idiot. He called him a pendejo. He said, I already beat this idiot the first time. So no, I'm not betting my money. I'm not going to bet my money when I already beat you and lost the fight. You know, so he's one of those guys that just you could tell he was meant for fighting. You know, he
Well,
has the attitude and everything. He made some money. He's good. He's fucking girls, probably smoking a cigar, eating beef, and you know how those Argentinians love beef.
oh yeah.
And that's his new life. You know.
I hope he's not on top of girls. Otherwise, he's gonna crush them the way
Yeah,
he's
he's gonna
looking.
kill them.
He's gonna turn them into pancakes and then eat them.
I have a feeling Maidana accomplished what he wanted to accomplish already in boxing, and that's make some money.
And so now he's trying to accomplish his second dream, which is to become the Michelin Man.
Because you are a disgusting fat body.
Hey, listen, like the Scholar B Major in the chat room says, hitting 2 Mayweather lottery tickets will make you do that. It's true. I mean, he hit the lottery with those Mayweather fights. Couple of $1 million paydays, that goes a long way.
Couple of $1 million paydays, yeah, that'll do it.
And real
What
news.
do you got, like $3 million each for each fight?
Yeah, and probably
Something
maybe
like
a couple of points, pay-per-view points. I don't know. Real news is reiterating your point, and he says Maidana loved fighting, not boxing. Shepherd of Sun says Maidana was a thug. Mark Funk, shout out to Mark Funk, says Chino is the Medellin cartel member. And by the way, that's the thing that Robert Garcia said, that when he first met Maidana, he recognized, well, like he didn't recognize that tattoos, but he could tell that some of those tattoos were like gang tattoos, like gang affiliation. And didn't the guy get shot too? Like you said, he got stabbed or something. I think he got shot too, right? Or did you mention that?
I think I know he mentioned something about getting shot.
Well, look, listen, there was that video of Maidana hitting the pads, looking like a, like looking pretty heavy, but still retaining his good technique. I watched a video of Joe Calzaghe. I don't know when it was posted, but he's hitting the bag and he's hitting the pads. That guy he's been off for about, 10 years now, doing cocaine and all that, and he's hitting the pads. Let me tell you something. Good technique, faster than I ever could be. I mean, this guy it just goes to show you, after years and years of the championship level, even if he's off for 10 years, he still has that technique down so that his punches are completely straight and they look faster than they should be. I mean, god damn, this guy if he's fast now, I wonder how fast he was. Like, because you watch a fight on TV, and okay, a guy looks fast and all that, but when you see them in person, that's when you really get how fast and how talented they are. And just looking at him now, 10 years after his retirement, that he's still looking fast, he must have been lightning quick inside that ring for his opponents.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that that he's still as fast hitting the it's hitting the bag, obviously, the punching bag. And he's still that fast. Remember, he did this for all his life. This is what he's done. And obviously, I don't think he can get back in the ring. And win big fights. No, I mean it's pretty much over with. But he probably still works out. At least when it comes to boxing. When it comes to boxing, I think that he still boxes in the ring. He still spars. I wouldn't be surprised if he can still go some rounds in a sparring fight. I guarantee. Matter of fact, I would guarantee it. I would guarantee he can still. Like I told you one time, I was like, I could still go in the ring and spar. I'm 45 years old. I'm only a year younger than him, so definitely didn't have the kind of training. Or at least I don't think I ever had the kind of training regimen he's had. So
Yeah, his experience and all those little tricks. It would depend against who, right? Like if he goes in there against a top level super middleweight or like heavyweight, they wouldn't go 100%. But like if they go at a good rate, good pace, he could probably go. Well, remember Paulie Malignaggi, when he went with Conor McGregor, he wasn't really in great shape, and he struggled to go. What was it? 12 rounds or 10 rounds? I forget.
Oh, I think it was 12 rounds. He did It was like one of those stimulation fights that they do in sparring, where they want to see where you're at. They want to see if you can go 12 rounds.
Right.
And apparently that's what was being sold. That Paulie Malignaggi came there to have a 12-round stimulation fight with him, with pads and with the headgear, and I guess bigger gloves. So, and he did. He went 12 rounds. He went 12 rounds with him. Paulie was probably out of shape,
out of shape, and just maybe not that good at this point. That a novice, instead of the pro beating the novice pretty easily, the novice was able to stick in there and at least win the war of the fight. Maybe he didn't win the battle exactly. I don't know. I didn't see the fight, so I can't say.
Well, look, listen, hold on, because Jay Perez is saying in the chat, Calzaghe versus Roy Jones too. Come on, what is this guy talking about?
I didn't even want to see part one.
Yeah, exactly.
Boring as fuck.
But going back to what you said about Malignaggi, apparently he did have a week after the first sparring session. He had a week or 2 weeks or something to get back in shape, and apparently it made a big difference. Well, according to him, he said he schooled McGregor in that sparring session. Corruption in Boxing says, I was ringside in Wales for Calzaghe versus Kessler. His hand speed without cameras was insane. I'm telling you, everything looks faster in person. The cameras, I don't know, I guess it's the 60 frames per second rate. I don't know if that fucks with the actual speed. HRAFNVIG says, how would the current champs do against the prime Calzaghe? And Shepherd Son says they'll lose bad. Yeah, the current crop ain't all that proven yet. I would have loved to have seen Froch versus Calzaghe and Ward versus Calzaghe. That would have been a good one too.
It's hard to say who wins these fights going back, but I think Calzaghe beats both of them. Froch and Ward.
Easy, or he struggles against?
No, I wouldn't say easy. I think he'll outbox. I think he would have outboxed Froch pretty easy. I think Ward would have made it physical and ugly, but I think that Calzaghe would have. If you look at the Calzaghe fight versus Bernard Hopkins, and I know people will say, well, Bernard Hopkins was older at that time, but still, he was still in good shape. He was on that alien juice, and he was still dirty as fuck. So he was still maybe not as physically strong as Andre Ward, but I see the fight playing out something like that where he clearly wins. He clearly wins the boxing match, but Ward makes it sort of ugly and loses on the scorecards.
It's interesting that you mentioned the Hopkins fight, because Andre Ward, even though he was in his 20s at the time of the Super 6, he was already fighting like an old Bernard Hopkins. He wasn't. Remember, Hopkins in his prime, he was a come forward right-handed fighter. Yeah. This fucking Ward, I mean, Kessler, headbutts, clinching. Oh, somebody's getting a phone call. Are you getting a phone call? I believe he is. So, but yeah, man, I mean, let me tell you that Ward, he used to fight very dirty.
You don't have any idea of the facts. You want to tell me about the night because you read it in the newspaper someplace?
Let me tell you something. I saw the fight, and I don't think Ward would have done. Ward against Calzaghe would have looked a lot like the Hopkins Calzaghe fight. A lot of clinching, a lot of holding. Both guys springing forward and then tangling on the. And I think a lot of those clinches would be initiated by Andre Ward. Just my opinion, because he's almost always the one instigating the clinches. I would say 90% of the time, maybe 95%. Ben87 says, how is it going, BDA? It's been a while. Shout out to Ben87 and Boxing Fairy Tale, who's in the chat room there. Thanks for listening, guys. What else? So yeah, the super middleweights right now, it's starting to look good, but there's still a long ways to go. I want to see somebody take on Anthony Dirrell. This guy's been in there. I think his best win was what, against Sakio Bika? Two wins. The first one was close. The second one was a little bit more to Dirrell's advantage, even though it was an ugly fight. I believe that was on the undercard of Brook versus Sean Porter. I'm not in the mood to rewatch Dirrell versus Bika too, I'll tell you that much. But he's got good hand speed and power, but he's just never been able to break through to the top 5 of the division. You got DeGale, you have Uzcategui, David Benavidez. Those are two guys, Benavidez and Uzcategui. I think they might end up doing accomplishing more than Ramirez, who's going to be fighting tonight. Scholar B Major says, recognizing BDA, Calzaghe definitely beats Froch, but Ward will activate his secret cheat code ability of low blows. He has the better grappling skills than Zangief from Street Fighter. Oh, somebody bringing up the Street Fighter references there from Scholar B Major. Shepherd of Sun says, I think Brammer could beat most dudes in the top 10. I don't know. Isn't he getting a little bit up there in age? The Shepherd of Sun says, Calzaghe outworks Ward.
Sorry about that, BDA.
You're getting a call from Flacco?
Getting a phone call from my lovely wife. You know?
Oh, wait, she's telling you not to do the show?
She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm talking to BDA. She's like, oh, yeah.
Why does she? Why do you make her sound like she's angry all the time?
Nah, she's a good woman.
You want me to come in? We start over again, Mike?
You want to start over and repeat that and talk about how wonderful she is, or?
Nah. I don't want to bore nobody with my love life, but get back into this boxing thing. Yeah, so we were talking about Calzaghe beating off what he would have done against Froch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Froch and Andre Ward. That's
right.
My take on it. He beats both of them. I think he beats Froch a little easier.
Froch a little easier.
I don't think he would have stopped either one of those guys, but I think he would have definitely beat them on points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wasn't really. He wasn't
a big. Although he could get stoppages. I mean, he could stop you.
Yeah, that's the thing. The lower
Jeff
level.
Lacey. No, he didn't stop Jeff Lacey. I mean, they might as well have stopped the fight out of something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the kind of guy he is. Like you might as well just stop the fight because he's. That's what he's going to do the whole fight. I mean, he's just going to keep beating you up.
Well, the Shepherd of Sun says he hurt Kessler bad as well. That's the thing. He did hurt him, I think, with a body shot, but then I think the ref called a timeout. What happened there? Something happened where Kessler got a bit of a break, but I don't know. We don't know if he could have stopped him or not, but he could overwhelm lower level guys.
I don't remember what happened with the ref. I don't know what he did, but I could just remember the body shot. It was some kind of shot. I don't really remember the shot, but Kessler was hurt. Kessler was without a doubt hurt in that fight.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember him doubling over a little bit. But that's the thing. Calzaghe could overwhelm you with activity, and if he was a lower level guy in there, he could get stopped. But against top opposition, he wasn't a fearsome puncher. He also had bad hands. His hands were all crippled up and everything. So maybe that's why
he was just strong-minded, though. That was the thing about him. He was very strong-minded. He was like full of arrogance, good arrogance, that he believed in himself, that it wasn't going to stop him. That wasn't going to stop him. How many times we've seen Calzaghe hit pretty good, and it's like, oh shit, you're thinking. At least for me, I'm thinking, okay, this is where he loses. This is finally when somebody hurts him, and he just keeps coming back, and fucking next thing you know, he's beating the shit out of the guy. I mean,
remember in his last ever fight when he got hit with a forearm or something from Roy Jones, and he got dropped hard, like he was hurt, and then by the end of the round, he had Jones on the ropes, and he was clowning him. So
his ass up.
Exactly. So that goes to your point about how good Calzaghe was when it came to the mental aspect. And there's another clip in that fight where he had Jones on the ropes and he was just beating him up at that point. But Jones was still being, picking his shots and everything. And he hit Calzaghe with a mean right uppercut. I think it was a right uppercut. And if you look at the slow motion clip and you see Calzaghe's head snapping back, but he's already throwing the punch even after having been hit. Like it's that type of mentality and that type of automatic response that he's had over fighting throughout, amateurs and all that. He was a tough son of a gun, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was one of the best fighters to ever do it. In my opinion, one of the best fighters to ever do it that I've seen.
Well, Bucho has a bit of a skewed perspective a little bit on Calzaghe because he thinks that he beat Lacey, but Lacey ended up being awful. Hopkins and Jones were old. Kessler is really the only big win, and all the other guys he fought were like European level fighters, which I think
I remember when he fought Eubanks.
Yeah, that was a good fight, Eubanks.
But I could remember people thinking Eubanks was going to win the fight because Calzaghe was sort of like a really like not a nobody, and even though he had I believe going into that fight, don't quote me 100% on this. I think he had like 20 fights and he won by like 18 knockouts, something like that. But he wasn't known for knocking dudes out. Like he was just, or at least no top level fighters out. So when he went up in there against Chris Eubanks, and I believe he was a replacement for someone, I forgot who it was. And he went in there and shit, he beat the shit out of Eubanks. He didn't stop him, but you know, he beat him up pretty good. And I remember he dropped him like in the first round. I mean, he dropped the shit out of him. Like he didn't just like knock him down. That's why I say Chris Eubanks is a tough motherfucker, man. He's just a senior, that is.
By the way,
just a tough dude.
Two things, because we were saying Uzcategui it was confirmed from Colombia. He's actually from Venezuela. He originated
Venezuela. Okay,
yeah, Venezuela.
Yeah.
And but back to your point about what you were saying about the Eubank fight. Shepherd of Sons in the chat room says Eubank Senior said Joe could punch, but as BDA said, his hands were bad. I think it's after the Eubank fight where he started having, or maybe at around in the mid 90s, late 90s. That's when his hands really started getting damaged. And Corruption in Boxing said earlier, Sven Otke versus Joe Calzaghe is such a shame that fight never happened. Sven Otke was really, I mean, I know some people don't like the term, but he was a European powder puff. I mean, he got a lot of gift decisions over there. He was getting outboxed by Anthony Mundine before he pulled off a miracle and knocked him out uncharacteristically. So Otke Calzaghe, I would have said Calzaghe would have won that one. And I think that's what most people thought back in the day as well.
I think Calzaghe would have beat him.
By the way, the scholar
didn't his record was like 34-0 with like 9 knockouts? I mean, he wasn't really a big puncher.
No, he was like what fighter could you compare him to? A little bit like Chris Bird in punching the part. Like he didn't put his whole weight into his shots. It was more like tap tap, you know, like Paulie Malignaggi almost. But hey,
right. Paulie Malignaggi, an undefeated Paulie Malignaggi.
An undefeated Paulie Malignaggi, exactly.
Yeah, didn't he retire undefeated too?
Yes.
Steve Ockley, whatever.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So he never tangled with Calzaghe. It would have still been interesting to see it, just to see, because he was considered the number 2 guy in the division. So him and Calzaghe would have put the whole thing to rest. But hey, he was making good money. This was Otke guy in Europe. So in Germany, he didn't have to travel outside of it to make money. He had no obligation, no necessity to go to Las Vegas or England, for that matter, the UK. Yeah. So hey. By the way, the scholar B.
That's
Majors...
why somebody...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that's why it goes to show you that not everything has to be in America. You know, there could be great fighters that never need to fight in America.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well,
and have a great career.
Remember the Klitschko's, man? They got HBO had enough of them back in 2008. They went back to Germany and they did pretty well over there for about. I don't think he fought on HBO for about 3 years until the David Haye fight in 2011, I think.
2011, yeah.
So, like you're saying, like you know, if you're a big star in Germany, the UK, there's no real, look at Anthony Joshua. He doesn't have to fight in the US. He's making good money over there.
He's making good money. Like I said, with that whole situation, I'm Anthony Joshua. I'm like, listen, you're fighting me here. That's it. Mm-hmm. There's no obligation. You're fighting me in the UK.
Like you said, that fight, fuck it. Until they actually sign. First of all, can Anthony Joshua even get past Povetkin? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he beats him.
Yeah.
At this point. But again, I'm not trying to hedge my bet here. I will not be surprised if Povetkin beats him.
No. You are hedging your bets.
What are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
It's just that, you know, at this point, he's older and he's the undersized. You know, he's definitely the smaller guy when it comes to Joshua. The fight's more likely going to be in the UK, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to take place in Russia.
Nah, I doubt it. I'll be surprised.
Yeah, but I didn't like that thing about you hedging your bets, sir. I mean, I got to tell you.
You're unbelievable, man. You're unfucking believable.
No, but you know what? I think it's gonna be. Look, people were. First of all, I said fuck that fight, and then we're talking about Joshua. But the thing that I was gonna make a video about that. I'm gonna post it later on, later today, maybe or tomorrow. But it's about Joshua versus Povetkin. I actually think it's gonna be a better fight than Joshua's last two fights, just based on that styles matchup.
It is gonna be a good fight because he's gonna, he doesn't run Povetkin, right? Povetkin does not run. Yeah, he'll slip punches and try to counter you, but he's right there in front of you.
Exactly.
And he doesn't care how big you are. He's gonna keep fighting his fight. So it's gonna be that Anthony Joshua has to stop him. That's gonna make for a good fight.
Exactly. Both guys standing there. Now here's the thing. I don't know. I think Joshua likes it when he has this stand-up boxers, because Povetkin doesn't really roll with the shots. You know what I mean? He's not exactly the most agile fighter in there. He does a lot of the good things very well, textbook style stuff. But I think Anthony Joshua he's that type of, Povetkin is the type of fighter that Joshua wants to fight. But do you think, like Poe Johnson in the chat room says, I got AJ, but Povetkin has that one-hitter quitter. Would you characterize Povetkin's power that way, like he can actually end Joshua's night with one shot?
He's a one-hitter quitter to guys more or less his size, but to a guy like Anthony Joshua, I understand what he's saying. He's such a good precision puncher that, yeah, he can hit you with a nice two-piece combination, and you'll see Anthony Joshua's ass on the floor. So I wouldn't be that surprised, but I don't think he's a quitter to a guy. He'll knock out, say, Usyk. Let's say Usyk was to go up and say, I'm gonna fight the heavyweight. I could see him knocking out Usyk with a one punch if he catches.
All right, you're breaking up a little bit there. At the end, you broke up.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I keep hearing an echo. Do you hear an echo?
No, I don't hear an echo. And I'm pretty sure people on YouTube, usually if you hear it on Hangouts, chances are that people on YouTube aren't hearing it. But is it gone now or is it still there?
That's still there a little bit.
Oh boy.
Okay, it's gone now.
There you go. But look, people in the chat room saying, I got, okay, Jay Perez says, I think Joshua will beat Povetkin. Shepherd of Sun says, I heard Miller turned down the Pulev fight in Bulgaria. And then he says, yeah, the dude has serious power. I think he's referring to Povetkin. Joey Ocean says Miller and Wilder are ducking. So this whole thing about going back to the Povetkin fight, I mean, I saw him, I recently saw the Takam fight and Duhaupas, I don't know how you say that. Yeah,
I think like that.
Yeah, the way he ended those guys on that night, it was like he laid them out. Like when I say lay them out, you know what I mean? Like lay them out, like they're on their back, arms stretched. Yeah, and but then again, it took him about 8, 10, 9, 11 rounds. So it does appear that he's the type of guy that has to beat him up and tenderize them before he puts that final shot in there.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He could knock you out fast if you're, if you're a guy that just not able to take big punches. If you can't take big punches, he's going to knock you out quick. But if you're a big man, it might take him a little while to soften you up, like you said, and then get you out of there.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about Povetkin. But he does a lot of textbook style stuff very well. He's got it down to a T. The question would be, can he take Joshua's power, first of all? Can he put the pressure on and maintain it and not get stopped by Joshua? Because listen, Povetkin is a big guy himself. He's like 6'4", I think. But Joshua's on a whole other level of weight. So if they start fighting on the inside, I don't know who gets the best of it on the inside, to be honest with you.
Well, I would think that Anthony Joshua might get the best of it because number one, he throws a really good uppercut. Two, he's the bigger man. But what he has to be careful for against Povetkin is that mid-range where he could shoot off that right hooking loop without even looking at you and fucking land that punch. That's what he has to worry about. That's what Joshua would have to worry about.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's well. First of all, let's go what to corruption in boxing is saying. He says David Price was snapping Povetkin's head back with nearly every punch he threw. Povetkin will get knocked out at short range, where AJ is most comfortable. So I think, like, yeah, Joshua is gonna be.
I just kind of disagree with that.
Okay.
I think mid-range could be a lot of trouble for Joshua against Povetkin.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, what would you say that? Like, you think mid-range, that's where Povetkin does his best work and not necessarily on the inside? Oh, Blues Clues just subscribed. Shout out to Blues Clues. Always good to have good people on board.
Don't get me upset now.
Anyway, wait a minute, what? Listen, the point is this. FNC Bot says, let's make sure Povetkin ain't on the pet. What do you think Joshua is on? They're all on something, probably. Come on. It's a heavyweight division. Now, Povetkin was cleared in a court of law, despite, we had the whole thing between Precise and Boxing Ring IQ. But so far, the decision is that Povetkin did nothing wrong. So far, he's not anything. Joshua has tested clean himself. So, I mean, I don't know. But it's going to be an interesting fight. It's a good replacement for the Wilder versus Joshua fight that it's not going to be taking place this year. But it's a good replacement. It's a good fight. And I think it's going to be more interesting. I think it's going to be more consistent in its action than Joshua versus Wilder would be. I think Joshua versus Wilder is going to be very exciting in the sense that you're going to be on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's going to happen. When the big punch is going to come, you don't know who's going to be able to take it or who's going to hit first, land first. Real News says AJ will fight Povetkin the way Lewis fought Tyson, holding and leaning on Alexander all night to tire him out. That would be a smart game plan, but obviously boring as well. Shepherd of Sun says Joshua goes down from an overhand right. Poe Johnson says that's possible. Real News says we all know AJ is up.
Possible if he gets hit with that. And people got to stop bringing up this whole PED stuff. He's already, he's already like basically won in court, and there's no proof that he was ever on, performance enhancing drugs.
I think somebody's agreeing with you in the background.
Yeah, they thought.
Are they agreeing with you, or?
I think so.
Why not? Why not?
I don't know why you don't want to talk about the PEDs. I mean, it's a it's a fact of life. These guys are on something. Well, I would venture to say or guess. I'm not saying they are on something. I'm covering my ass.
It's part of boxing.
I would probably, yeah, more than likely. Tarisio's Fever in the chat room says the uppercut will work if AJ is allowed to pull down Povetkin's head like the Lennox Lewis punch. King Bucho says AJ is clean. Alan Dromireki says UKAD doesn't even test Joshua. This fight is already rigged in Joshua's favor. Poe Johnson says just glad that Joshua versus Wilder talk can be put aside for the moment. And Real News says they did Povetkin dirty though. Unfair. Okay, recognize. What about Joshua's chin? Because, okay, he was hit against Dylan White, but that was because he had his hand low. Klitschko dropped him, but then again, it's Klitschko, pretty huge guy. And then Parker did hurt him. I think it was in the 6th round, stunned him with a counter right hand. He rolled with Joshua's right and then came back with a counter right. And he did seem to stop Joshua in his strikes. What do you think about his chin? I mean, it's pretty clear he can be hurt, but is that just part of the game at heavyweight and his chin is pretty good, or what do you think?
He's one of those big guys that, for whatever reason, when he gets hit, and this is just a theory, and just thinking to myself, that when he gets hit with a big punch, he's so not used to that he's still having a hard time reacting to it, right? Several times I saw him get hurt by guys like, obviously we know Klitschko dropped him, Parker hurt him a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And I want to say, Dillian White, right? So Dillian White, I remember, hit him with a good shot. Now, I don't over-exaggerate. It's not like he's got a glass chin. If he had a glass chin, Vladimir Klitschko would have had him out of there. Mm-hmm. So he is strong. He is a big dude. So I think it's a stamina issue. I think it's a big man getting punched back issue. He's got to get used to that. You know, big men, when they get hit, they're not, especially when they get hit hard, they're a little bit shocked in the beginning, you know, and that shock could play into anxieties, and next thing you know, they're falling all over the floor, right? Or they just look like they're in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. But I do believe he's big and strong enough that he can recover from a big shot. He's already proven it several times. Dillian White hurt him. Joseph Parker buzzed him a couple of times. And obviously Vladimir Klitschko, who's knocked out more people than Anthony Joshua's had pro fights, right? So, I mean, this is a guy who, to me, he's already proved to me, at least, that he could take a big punch and come back.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a David, like, he's got solid defense too, which prevents him from getting...
It's not a Lennox Lewis chin, right? It's not that Lennox Lewis chin that when you hit him, he goes down and he can't get back up.
Right.
I think that's not to say that Anthony Joshua is better than Lennox Lewis. I'm just saying that at least when it comes to taking a punch, Anthony Joshua, I think, he's a little underrated from what I've been hearing lately.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
He doesn't have a glass chin, though. You know, it's not like you touch him and he's down and we know he's not going to get back up. No, that's not the case with Joshua.
By the way, we got sound effect. A microphone picked it up during one of Lennox Lewis's knockout losses of a punch hitting his chin. All right, hold on. Did you hear? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a chin breaking, like a weak Lennox Lewis chin breaking. Maybe Amir Khan. Is this Amir Khan's? That sounds like Amir Khan's right there. Every time against Prescott. I think that was a Prescott fight. Look, people in like Rook Davis is saying his chin is just fine. Poe Johnson says AJ is not as accurate with shorter targets like the Cam. All right, so recognize you see some people they're disagreeing there. Some people agreeing with you, some people disagreeing. Corruption in boxing says height and reach discrepancy at mid-range. Povetkin leaps in from mid-range or changes levels to get under lead shots, and he does no damage from mid-range. I do agree with the fact that he does weave a lot, right? He weaves and then comes back with the hook, and that's how he almost, I think that's how he iced the Cam, or was it with the right hand? But yeah, he's dangerous. He's gonna be dangerous under Joshua's shots. Joshua's gonna have to keep his hands up, keep blocking that chin, otherwise it could be lights out. Buchu asked me for a link, but he hasn't gone in there yet.
I think Bucho's been in the. I was thinking Bucho was taking time out from boxing because of the World Cup.
Oh, he's convinced Mexico's gonna beat Sweden on Monday. I mean, not Sweden. Sorry,
is Mexico? Is it Mexico versus Sweden now?
No, I made a mistake. It's Mexico and Brazil. Mexico and Brazil. He's convinced Mexico's gonna beat Brazil. So I don't know. It's a difficult game.
Brazil on that one. I'm sorry.
Was that? Did you say you don't see that happening? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think Brazil, man, they look tough.
Why not? Why not?
Sorry about that. I had to use the same one. But yeah, I agree, man. That Brazil is the favorites, obviously. Are the favorites, I should say. FNC Bot says the Cam was defensive. Povetkin will come to win. That might be the trouble, man. The fact that he's going to open himself up against AJ's counters and that mean right uppercut. Real News says AJ has a decent chin. Taricio's Fever says PEDs do improve your chin and neck size. He doesn't protect it well, though. The Shepherd of Sun says Bucho with his wishful thinking. Brazil 4-1. I mean, I don't know. Look, they were supposed to lose against Germany, and you look how that happened. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Fucking football. I think it's all rigged, by the way. I don't trust it. Yeah, I do. People say,
especially when your team loses, right? You're like, it's rigged.
yeah, and if they win, they deserve it.
Fucking idiot.
Hey, listen, I don't know, man. I'm not getting into the whole World Cup thing right now. Poe Johnson says Bucho is gonna check into rehab after. He's gonna get into rehab, yeah. Corruption in the box says age has depleted Povetkin's ability to evade punches. His reflexes and reactionary times are major concern. He is 39, soon to be 40, I believe. When's this guy's birthday, by the way? Let me check it out. Alexander Povetkin's birthday is on...
I think he's 39 or going on 39.
Yes, he's 38. He's 38. I thought he was 39. September the 2nd, he's gonna turn 39. So.
Yeah.
And by the way,
did you hear somebody like agreeing with me in the background?
Yeah, I heard somebody said, "Yeah, I agree."
Okay,
and then
so I'll tell you. Oh, Jesus Christ! This woman's coming back. Hold on.
The fuck?
I'm at work. I'm at work right now.
Okay. And why? It's a sexy secretary, or who is she?
No. So today I'm working in a building where it's occupied. People live there. So I have the elevator on the first floor. So I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you on my phone. I guess she doesn't see that I have like earphones on, so she think I'm talking to her. She's like, "Yeah, I agree."
The fuck? Wait, what? What would? But why would she say I agree? If why would she assume you're talking? And she doesn't even know what you're talking about.
Boxing with you too. Like I'm thinking she's hearing me like talking boxing. She's like, "Yeah, I agree." I'm like, "You watch boxing too, old lady?"
Old lady, yeah, you old bag. Yeah, she doesn't even know what you're talking about. So why would she agree?
Shut your fucking mouth!
Maybe she's a cougar.
Maybe.
Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
That's what Recognize is gonna be telling her in a couple of seconds.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
Maybe she sees me as young meat, you know, like, yeah, I could get this guy.
Well, as long as you don't get trapped in the elevator with her, I think you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, that definitely won't happen.
Well, don't never say never, man. Come on, but
I'll escape.
You'll escape. I wanted to ask you, since there's not that much going on right now, either in boxing, it's okay. You're from the New York area. You're Puerto Rican. Where were you when 9/11 happened? Like, how did you hear about it? Because it was during the build-up to the Hopkins Trinidad fight.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of significance.
I remember. Yeah, I was home. I was. So I'm gonna tell you a kind of like a weird story that. So I used to work in the World Trade Center. Like that wasn't my regular route. That was like one of my routes once in a while. I was an apprentice back then, right?
Okay.
So I would go there once in a while, and I made some friends there too. I made some friends that lived on. They worked at on the last floor in the first building, which was called Windows of the World. And some of the people there, I knew them. And that week, one of the guys was like, "Hey, I'm gonna need you to work at the World Trade Center." That was on a Sunday, right? This happened. I got that phone call on a Sunday. Then on a Tuesday is when it happened. And I said, "Yeah, sure," because I used to love working there, so we could go hang out at Windows of the World. And especially on Thursdays, they used to have what they call Latin night. You know, their salsa, merengue, bachata, all that stuff.
Sounds like trouble.
Yes, a lot of hot girls would go there. So, you know, we used to just love to go up there, hang out, enjoy the atmosphere when I would work in that building. So anyway, I got a call from my boss, and he was like, "No, you can't work in that site this week. You gotta work. There's a busier location that I had to work in, my regular location." So it didn't happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on Tuesday, so Monday night I worked late, and my brother that lives out in Florida was staying with me because he was working for the summer, a job that extended. They gave him a full-time job. It was just supposed to be for the summer. So he stayed with me in my apartment, and he would work early. So he's at work, right? My brother's at work, and I'm sleeping. And my ex-wife was at work too. At this time, she was my girlfriend, and I'm sleeping late. I'm just like sleeping. Next thing you know, I get a phone call, and you know those answer machines that you can actually hear people leaving you the message.
Yeah.
Like if you happen to be around it. So I hear, like in my sleep, I hear, bro, yo, you got to see this shit. There's two holes in the World Trade Center. They said that two missiles hit the building. This is what he tells me, right?
Right.
I hear something. I'm hearing like a bunch of noise in the background. Like, what the fuck was that? So I get up. I'm like, did I dream that, or did my brother really leave a message saying that? So I played the message, and there it was. It wasn't. I wasn't dreaming it. So I turn on the TV, right? So I turn on the TV. I see the two holes in the building, and so I call my brother, and my brother picks up. He's like, "Yo, I'm by the Millennium Hotel. The Millennium Hotel is right across the street from the World Trade Center." He's like, "Yo, there's people jumping out the building."
Holy shit!
I said, "You said two missiles hit the building." He said, "No, that was people that were talking shit that they don't know." He goes, "I'm hearing now that it's two airplanes that hit the building." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what they're saying on the news. That's what they're reporting on the news." And so he told me, he's like, I was sitting at my desk and I felt the building shake. And I was like, "Why would you feel your building shaking? That sounds weird." And he's like, "Yeah." He was like, "I don't know. Maybe it was when the airplane hit the building that it shook the whole New York." And that doesn't make sense at the moment. I'm like, "Yo, dude, listen, just get the fuck out of there. You're too close to that." He's like, "Frank, Frank, I'm watching people jump off the building."
So he was just, for how long was he doing that? Just sitting there watching people jumping off the buildings?
I mean, I don't remember, but he, I'm just thinking that he was just, when he got out of work, he's just like walking like where the crowd is walking through, and they probably stopped at the Millennium to see, maybe somebody said, "Oh shit, people are jumping from the building." And maybe for that quick second, he stopped thinking that he's gonna keep walking, and he's just like mesmerized, watching people fall off from that fucking high too. So I told my brother, I said, just keep walking. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that." The second I hung up the phone with him, I'm looking at the TV, and the building looks like it exploded, like just boom, like the whole thing, and it looked like a bomb went off on the whole Manhattan from the view of the TV. So I'm like, "Oh shit, my brother was right there." So I'm trying to call my brother for like 3 hours. I couldn't get in contact with him. His mother's calling me because he's my half brother. We have the same father. And so, his mother's calling me, my stepmother, and she's like, "Oh, what the fuck? Have you heard from Bo?" And I'm like, "Just calm down. I'll try to get in contact with him." It was crazy. And then my brother finally 3 hours later calls me, gets back, and this is what he told me. He's like, "When I got off the phone with you," he's like, "a bomb blew up. Something blew up." And I started running for my fucking life. He's like, "I just started running." And it's like this cloud of smoke just was chasing me. He's like, this cloud was just chasing me, like the whole building. He said, I kept running. He said the fucking ground was just shaking. And yeah, that was my 9/11 experience. It was through my brother, man. Trying to make sure. I thought he died when you see that image and if you know the area, right?
Right.
And if somebody told you, "I'm by the Millennium Hotel," you would have known that's across the street from the World Trade Center. And if you see that, you're gonna be like, "Oh shit, he's dead."
Well, yeah, you would imagine, right? I mean, all the destruction that two buildings falling. I mean, come on. So he hit the streets, and as soon as he did, that's when one of the buildings came down.
Right, and I remember him always saying, I heard a loud explosion, like a bomb blew up, and then I started running, and I could feel the ground shaking. I could feel the ground shaking as I'm running. and this cloud of shit like just following me.
My goodness gracious! Well, thank goodness he got out of there all right. I mean,
Yeah,
listen.
I mean, we were thinking like honestly, like because of my stepmother, I was thinking like, oh shit, there's a good chance he's dead. Because at that moment, I don't know what happened. I don't know that the building collapsed, and that's all the smoke that is. I'm thinking a bomb blew up. I'm thinking a bomb blew up, and maybe there was like a little mini nuke in Manhattan, and it just fucking blew up. So I'm thinking that's what happened to my. I'm thinking my brother's right across the street from it. He must be dead.
Yeah, nobody knew what was going on. I mean, it was insane. I mean, and then like you said that you couldn't get any service through because everybody was trying to.
Couldn't get any service at all. Yeah.
It's a hell of a.
And so my brother finally got in contact with me when he got into Queens, right? Because I was living in Queens at that time, and he had to like walk from downtown Manhattan all the way like to 59th Street. That's Midtown. There's a bridge from there that goes into Queens, where I was living at the time. And so that's when he finally got service, when he crossed that bridge. So it took him like 3 hours from downtown, but I guess with all the chaos too on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And he came when he came to us, he had all that dust all over him.
Oh, that poison dust.
Yeah.
You should have told him to get the fuck out.
No, I mean we just like there was a gas station over there. There was a gas station right by when he got off the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And we just hosed him down and shit. And he was just like I mean, he already like he was already taking a lot of it off. It looked like somebody gave him some water, and but he still had like a lot of it in his hair and his clothes. Yeah, man, that shit was crazy. And the smell that let off for like a good month, like, because I work not too far from there.
Mm-hmm.
It always smelled like a fire. If you would take the train towards that area, as you're getting close, you can smell the fire from the train inside the train station. You can smell the fire because it was connected. The train, there was train stations that the train would take you right into the Twin Towers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, obviously they're still connected. Just because the building's down, that doesn't mean that the station is not still connected to other train stations. So you could smell that shit for like
My
months.
goodness gracious. Yeah, you know what? I heard that people were saying that in the next couple of days afterwards, you could smell shit down there. Well, not shit, but I'm saying weird stuff.
No, you could like smell like shit, basically. It was like things burning, whatever the fuck it was. Whatever that was, you could smell it.
You know what? I mean, I as a Mexican who lives in Canada, especially at the time I was already in Canada, yeah, it was like, hey, it's the United States. They gotta do what they gotta do. Shit happens.
The whole world gone crazy!
But yeah, it was insane watching those people, the planes, because at first it's interesting. First of all, I was looking forward to the Hopkins Jr. fight like you couldn't believe it, and it was the week of the fight. So when that happened, I'm looking at the news and I'm thinking, please, 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 don't postpone the fight. Don't postpone the fight. Don't cancel it.
Postponed it.
And they postponed. But I saw in one newscast, these motherfuckers said, the Knicks game is off, Yankees game is going to be off, but the Hopkins Jr. fight.
Mets game.
But they said the Hopkins Jr. fight is on. I said, perfect. They're not gonna postpone it. And then afterwards, they confirmed, it's gonna be canceled. So I said, well, come on, why would you say no in the first place? And then, I mean, it's just that's my perspective as an outsider, as a non-American. I was more concerned about the fight.
I don't blame you. You're concerned about we were that week. It was so weird, man. That was supposed to be like a perfect week. Me, my brother, a couple other friends, some cousins. We were all gonna go to that fight, Trinidad versus Hopkins. And we ended up going to the fight when it got postponed 2 weeks later, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same atmosphere. That's why I knew Trinidad was gonna lose, man.
Ah, the French.
I don't think you
I
knew.
said,
Come
oh
on.
shit, man. I think Trinidad's gonna lose, man.
Nah,
Not
you
looking
didn't.
good.
Come on. You didn't know, man. You thought, like every other Puerto Rican out there and most boxing fans, you thought Trinidad was going to knock Old Man Hopkins out. Come on, admit it.
You know what? I knew that Hopkins had a good shot of beating him. I always knew that. I always knew he had a good shot of beating him. Because he was the much bigger guy.
I don't believe you. I got to tell you.
You're going to have to take my word for it.
All right. All right. Yeah, okay. I'll take
You
your
got
word.
some balls, kid. I'll give you that much.
No. Yeah, it's true. I mean,
Oh,
yeah. No, but it's true because there was a whole thing about also Hopkins. Like, I think you mentioned this too in another episode where he was able to go to Philadelphia because, I mean, it's not that far off from New York City, while Trinidad had to stay put in New York. He couldn't go back to see his family in Puerto Rico or anything like that. So maybe that did affect them a little bit. I don't know.
yeah, again, that's... Look, it's a reasonable excuse. It is. But he couldn't go back to Puerto Rico. I'm not saying that he would have won the fight had he, not had the fight been scheduled for September 15th. Mm-hmm. Remember, it was scheduled for September 15th. The fight happened September 19th. Or September 29th, excuse me, because it was 2 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on one second. I'm at work. What page? Yeah, I got lost there. There you go. Thank you. All right. So he wasn't able to go back to Puerto Rico, and I also believe that he wasn't able to get sparring partners as well. All right, you too, bro. So he wasn't able to get sparring partners. Or at least the sparring partners that he felt comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And there was a whole lot of other stuff going on. He had to stay in the hotels in Manhattan. He has family in the Bronx, and trust me, he's not going to be fucking staying in where they lived at in the Bronx. That's the South Bronx, and no way was he fucking going to be staying on 167th Street in Ogden Avenue. Hell no, that was not going to happen. So he was in a tough situation. He was in a tough situation, but it's in the history book. That's it.
So he didn't want to be in that neighborhood.
I work on a high wire without a net. That's where I'm comfortable.
Let's say if he wanted to.
Right.
They would have been like, "Are you fucking crazy? You know what could happen to you in that fucking neighborhood, and everybody knows who you are."
Read my lips. Oh man. You in the hood.
Listen, you gotta take it, man. You gotta take it. But you know what? Listen, like you said, whether Trinidad would have gone back to Puerto Rico or not, I don't think he beats Hopkins.
No, I mean, listen. What did we learn from that fight? We learned that Hopkins is a big middleweight and probably the best middleweight of that time. Mm-hmm. Not probably, he is the best heavyweight. The best middleweight of that time, and Trinidad was going to have to be not only 100% physically ready, but mentally as well, and more likely still would have lost the fight.
Yeah, probably. I agree with that.
And I think he was getting to his head already. Remember the whole the fucking incident where he takes the Puerto Rican flag?
Oh,
he throws it on the ground.
Yeah, that was that guy was insane.
Did you see when they chased him out the?
Yeah, I remember that.
This guy's fucking crazy, man. Even if that was part of like a stunt, like you don't do that shit, man. Like not there.
Twice.
I guess he didn't even realize like what kind of crowd it was. Like these was like some fucking jibaros. You know what jibaro means, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's twice. He did it twice. I mean, not just once.
If it was like classy, if it was like, like the upper Puerto Ricans that, you could see that they well-mannered or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I could understand that. But he didn't really realize what he was in for.
Yeah, no, this was Coupe Alto Puerto Rico, Coupe Alto Puerto Ricans right there, man. They weren't going to take it. And, yeah, they were trying to slap him, and I saw that there's a part where Hopkins jumps over a railing, and you see this guy behind him trying to slap him. I'm thinking, come on, this guy's a professional fighter. What the hell are you gonna do to him with a bunch of slaps? I mean, but that's the way they were going at it. They weren't thinking straight. They just wanted to beat the shit out of him. And why not? I mean, you don't listen. At the end of the day, I'm not a nationalist. I don't believe in the concept of nations. I don't take them as seriously. I do love countries, but when flag, it's a symbol, you know. Let your guy Trinidad take care of it in the ring if he can. Don't try to go after a guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think, Recognize?
No, I agree with you. I think that listen, it wouldn't trigger me, but knowing how those I lived in Puerto Rico. I grew up out there, so I know what it's like. For me, it's easy to pick up on people's attitudes and what you can't do and what you can't do in front of people like that are going to get triggered.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't see the signs. I mean, he got out of there. You know, I give him that. He got out of there. They fucking chased him out. Had they caught him, they would have beat the shit out of him. Real bad.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they would have beat the shit out of him, and they would have probably stolen his wallet too. Give him a taste of a little taste of Philadelphia, a taste of his own medicine. You know.
Oh yeah, they would have definitely.
But he did it twice in New York. I think it was a New York press conference and the Puerto Rico press conference. I mean, oh look, you're gonna do it in New York, which is Puerto Rico #2. All right, but
yeah, but you could get away with it there.
Maybe,
get away
yeah.
with it there. Like in New York, there's a mixture, right? There's a lot of people that don't care about that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But in Puerto Rico, okay, I'm just going by what I saw. The atmosphere there, these were like, okay, it's like take your baddest neighborhood in Canada, right? Wherever that is.
Okay.
And imagine if I told you, I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna be like, fuck that neighborhood. You guys ain't shit. Would you say, no, you fucking crazy?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Okay. And let's say he's looking at the crowd and he can't pick up on, they're the type of guys that if he was on that level, they would have punched him in his face, even if he didn't say anything. They would have been like, oh, look at this Yankee, mira este morenito de América, blah, 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 le va a dar un bofetada, you know, one of those type of things. And they would have set it on him and beat the shit out of him. That's what they would have did. But he, you know, obviously he's a boxer selling the fight. He takes the flag, throws it, and doesn't realize the atmosphere. I think at that moment he didn't realize what kind of guys, you know, that crowd was, and they chased him. They were about to jump his ass. If they would have caught him, they would have beat the shit out of him. Bad.
But
that would have not been a publicity stunt. That would have been him getting his ass whipped. That's it.
But it's interesting because supposedly Hopkins fancies himself a street smart guy. He grew up in the streets. He was in a federal penitentiary for 5 years, I think. So you would have expected him to have been able to read a crowd a little better. And especially, look, listen, whether you're
Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe he did read it, but you saw that he said, "Okay, I got to get the fuck out of here."
Yeah. Oh yeah. He ran out.
He did say, he said, "Okay, I'm out because these dudes are gonna." There's a universal language when you don't have to know Spanish when you know you're being threatened.
Exactly.
When you're being threatened, when they're coming at you aggressively, you know, and that's what was happening. I could be anywhere. I could be in somewhere where they speak nothing but French. If they're coming to me aggressively, I'm gonna know that my life is in danger, you know, at that moment. So I'm gonna do the same thing he did. But if I was smarter, what I would have done was read the atmosphere of the crowd, and if they're looking at me like, man, if you happen to fall over and you're in this crowd, we're gonna beat the shit out of you.
And by the way,
you can read that on certain people. You can read that in a crowd.
Yeah, you don't need, like you said, you don't need to speak their language. And you said, what if French people, like if people from France came at you, you would know it because they'd be trying to kiss you. You see what I'm saying? I'm calling them homosexuals.
Great ass.
But no, listen, anyway. Oh, we got Apology Man on the line. Apology, are you there?
Yo, what's good? My feet are killing me.
Your feet are killing you?
Yeah.
Why don't you chop them off?
Going up and down, up and down.
Yeah, just chop them off. You'll be fine.
Yeah, probably.
Apology man fucks with an apnea mask on.
Now, he doesn't fuck with an apnea mask on. What the hell?
Gaia?
Yeah, that was Gaia.
500?
That was Gaia 500. We're trying to use.
Yeah. Finally.
We're trying to ease it back in. Trying to ease it back in a little bit. Just a little bit, you know. We tweaked it, so it should be fine now. But yeah, apology, we're talking about 9/11 and the whole thing that happened with Hopkins Trinidad. Then I'll tell you this. I had heard, because I did think that Hopkins had a good shot in that fight. Everybody thought Trinidad was the undefeated guy, unstoppable rather. But Hopkins was taking it very seriously, man. Apparently he boarded up the gym. He boarded the windows up so that nobody could peer inside. He didn't allow any access, media access or anything. He was training like a motherfucker for that fight. So I did think he had a chance. Obviously, I didn't expect him to beat Trinidad up the way he did. But that was the thing. Then that fucking 9/11 happened, and it fucked everything up. It forced everyone to be in the... And then people were afraid during the fight that something was going to happen. Apparently, there was a tension there. So, my goodness.
There was.
Apology, are you old enough to remember?
I'm not laughing, but
what?
It's true.
What do you mean? Were you laughing at?
No, I went to the fight.
Were you laughing at 9/11?
No. I'm saying the people were overreacting. I mean, what you just said about how people were, like they thought that something was going to happen. Which I wasn't going to happen, man. I mean, just the police presence that was there. There was no way. But there were people that, like, you could tell by their reaction. They were like constantly looking over, and somebody looks a little bit Arabic. Looking at me.
But it's. I mean, look, it's interesting. It's interesting that after 9/11. It was open season on Muslims or Arab-looking people. Like, you could be, if you were a Spanish guy that looks a little bit Arab or something, you were like, they were gonna get you. Now it's completely the opposite. Now you can't profile against Muslims or Arabs, but it's almost all the time if you see an Arab in an airplane and he starts singing, you can't help but feel a little threatened about what the hell's going on. It's nature, man. It's like if you hear a rattlesnake, you immediately think, oh shit, I'm in trouble. I'm not saying that all Muslims are like that, but it is a little weird hearing somebody screaming inside an airplane. I think that happened a couple of instances where Muslims start praying in the airplane and it freaked people out, and then it became a whole controversy about, well, it's just a religion. Why are you being such a bigot? Well, come on, you can't start screaming inside an airplane. It's insane.
Yeah, after something like that happened, come on.
Absolutely. By the way, you said you went to the Trinidad Hopkins fight. Did you have your hand wraps on and everything for that one, like to get into a fight with people?
Nah, man. No. I told you, like, I was at the Galata and Riddick Bowe fight. So Madison Square Garden had banned me, not just me, anybody who got arrested that night from going to MSG, but I was able to prove that I got arrested outside of Madison Square Garden. So
you gotta find a technicality.
Yeah, I was like, listen, no, I wasn't part of that riot. A fight happened outside.
Yeah, that makes it better.
Right.
Yeah,
they were like, okay, we apologize.
That makes
They had my face plastered. They like shamed everybody that got arrested.
Holy shit!
They're like, these people, yeah, there's my face. I'm like, oh, fuck out of here. Look, why am I banned from Madison Square Garden? It doesn't make no sense. You should have been
proud.
Huh?
You should have been proud. Like, you should have taken that as a sign of, hey, now people know who I am.
Hall of Fame.
You gotta look at the positive and everything, man. Come on, just stop complaining. Oh, I'm banned.
Man, but I used to love going to Madison Square Garden, like for the boxing fights and the basketball games. Like that's the place. That was like the place to be. It was a great atmosphere. So I wanted to go back. I was like, damn, I had nothing to do with the fucking riot. They're like, these are the faces of the rioters. Like, it was something like that.
Like you were a rapist or
what
something.
The fuck? Yeah, I'm like, no, I wasn't part of that fucking riot.
And who?
So
yeah.
Yeah, so I was able to prove that I was arrested outside. So
now again, how did you prove that?
Well, just by my arrest, the memo for my arrest.
Now that's good. Who was your?
It was me outside.
Right, right. So it's that made it better that you got into a fight outside and not inside. Who was your lawyer, by the way? What? It must have been a very good lawyer, Robert Shapiro.
No, it was.
Was it X?
It was X.
Yeah, X paid.
Just call me X, okay?
Hey, that's actually a pretty good impression, man.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. By the way, apology. Were you? I think you're about to turn 20 or something. I think so. So you don't remember 9/11, right?
No, I just remember the fallout the years after.
Right.
All on the news. USA going to the Middle East to start a war and stuff like that.
Right, right. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. This is turning into the 9/11 retrospective show. All right.
Wait, Boxer Stars, you there?
Boxer.
Good lord.
Yeah, it was Boxer Stars.
Good lord.
But yeah, listen, that whole thing, it fucked everything up, man. 9/11, it was there's a pre-9/11 world, and then there's a post-9/11 world, and it doesn't seem like things are ever gonna go back to the way it was pre-9/11. But hey, at least the fight
that
ended
was
up.
the thing.
Yeah?
That's what I was gonna say. Right after that happened, it just seemed like the atmosphere in New York changed completely. Like everything. That's when New York just became a police state. That was it. But the one good thing out of that, the crime rate went down like dramatically compared to what it was before. After that. Oh yeah. That's 100% for sure.
So like I said, there's an upside to everything, even a terrorist attack. And
because
by the way,
New York was on lockdown. Video surveillance everywhere, you know. Even though people still do shit, and a lot of them are getting caught on video camera now, but it's nowhere near. It's funny. Before 9/11, New York was a more dangerous city, but I don't know, it was just a live atmosphere that you enjoyed. After that, it became a safe city, and just sort of like, you know, everybody's dull now. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting how after a couple of days after 9/11, it was all peace and love in the United States. We're all Americans, unity and patriotism and all that. How long did it take before New York reverted back to New York? Like a bunch of people cutting each other off in traffic. Hey, motherfucker, why don't you get off the road, faggot? Like, how long did that take?
No, I don't think that ever changed.
Oh man, so
driving in New York is the worst, man. Maybe there's another city that's worse, but I can't. And the thing is, I have to because I live pretty far from the city, so it's the worst.
It must be, man. I mean, we've talked about that in the past about that New York traffic, and you live outside, like you just said, so and you have to be driving in. There must be how long? What's the longest it takes you to get from your house to your job site?
Takes me about an hour.
An hour? Jeez, my goodness gracious!
Yeah,
and that's in a car, not public transport.
That's like by the time I get parking, whether I decide to park on the streets or I have to park in a garage, or depending what site I'm working in, I could just, you know, park for free or whatever. And so it all depends. I say an hour. Yeah.
Jeez, Louis, an hour every day. But it could be worse. Some people fucking have to drive 2 hours to work. I've heard that shit happen. I've even heard 3 hours. Ooh, insane. All right, guys, listen. I gotta go for a couple of minutes. You guys take over. If you want to talk about Amir Khan, says he's ready for everybody. He's not ducking anyone, but he's gonna be taking on Samuel Vargas.
Yeah, he's a bomb.
Is Samuel Vargas the same guy that lost to Danny Garcia?
Yeah, that's the same one.
All right, you guys tell the audience out there what you think about that fight. I'll be right back. All right.
No problem. Apology and recognize taking over.
Yeah. What do you recognize show now?
Recognize BDA took over. No, Recognize took over BDA. There you go. So you, so you like this? Well, I'm sure you don't. What do you think about Khan versus Vargas?
I mean, I don't know what Eddie Hearn's doing. Is he trying to build up the Khan Brook fight? Because we don't need any more build up. Like, they're ready for the fight. Just let them fight and see who wins. And the best one win.
Is it me or it just like I guess you guys out there think that Khan is ducking? He's ducking Brook.
Yeah, it feels like majority are. I think it's because people think Brook will win anyway. And usually when you think a guy, it's like Errol Spence and Keith Thurman. If you ask, most people pick Errol Spence. And stuck at Errol Spence because you can't beat him. The same thing with Khan and Brook. Like, people think Khan can't beat Brook, so that's why he's been stuck in.
Yeah, I just I don't think they need to build up the fight anymore. I mean, these guys, Brook has been calling Khan out for the longest time. And to me, Khan in his last fight, remember when Brook came in, Khan looked scared. He did. He looked like a guy that was trying to convince himself, where Brook was like totally relaxed, like, I just want to fight you. Khan is like, I'm still the best brick fighter. Like he's about to have a heart attack, or he's about to get knocked out by adrenaline, and he just doesn't. He looks like he doesn't want it.
No, I don't think he does. But it's gonna be a good payday, so he'll most likely take it.
If that fight was to happen, what is your feelings? The fight ends by, who do you think is going to win, and how you think the fight would end?
Brook 8 round with a straight right to the chin.
Yeah, I think Brook would knock him out too.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially that Khan is nervous and afraid of him. I think he definitely beats him by knockout, because that nervousness will play a role in the fight eventually.
Wait, who's afraid of who?
Talking about Khan and Brook. Khan is afraid of Kell Brook.
Huh. Would not surprise me. Would not surprise me. By the way, thanks for taking over, by the way, while I was gone. I had to get, the humidity is killing me. I had to turn the fan on, which is why, I don't know, every time I talk, you can hear a little bit of a white noise. I couldn't take it anymore. Couldn't take it. I know it messes with the sound, but fuck it, man. I'm dying over here.
Fucking BDA is sweating his ass off right now.
Sweating my...
He's doing this. Fuck. Yeah, so, oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm gagging from the humidity here. But okay, so you guys are saying that Khan is afraid of Brook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would surprise me, man. But look, can we really
blame again the ring? Yeah.
Can we really blame him though? I mean, he took a year off, maybe a little more after the Canelo fight. He came in against a guy, Lo Greco, who he was going to beat. Everybody wanted to know how he was going to react to the punches. Now he's taking on another guy who's a little bit better than Lo Greco. So he's coming back little by little. I don't think he should jump in there against Kell Brook right away. He could get hurt in that fight.
Look, boxing is a tough business, man. Right? Like, think about it. I could see Khan talking to his wife, right? His wife, his on and off again wife. Like, honey, listen, I'll beat the shit out of Brook. I just don't want to fight him right now. And she's like, yeah, baby, I believe in you, and now like things are on the ropes between them. She kind of likes him, but kind of despises him at the same time. And, she's remembering, you talk shit about Brook. If Brook fucks you up, I'm gonna throw that shit in your face.
Oh.
So yeah, like maybe there's a lot of things fucking with him. Like, man, I talked a lot of shit about this Brook dude, to my family, to my wife, to anybody who would listen, right?
Right.
And then he gets his ass knocked out.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you something. That is the worst. That's got to be one of the worst feelings in the world, man. Like, oh shit, you try to explain to your people why you're not fighting them. He's a pussy, man. He's a pussy. I don't want to fight him because he's a sucker, and he's trying to live off my name, and I'll whip his ass anyway. And he gets in there and he knocks him out the way Canelo knocked out Khan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, man, that's a lot of explaining yourself to your family. Well, what I meant was, he's not as bad as I said. Do you think
he's justifying it to everybody that comes up to him, talks to him about like, no, I'm gonna fight him. I'm just waiting for the money to be right. You know that's how it is. I'm a businessman. Do you think that's how he's trying to justify it? Yeah, probably. By the way, we have an audio clip here we have an audio clip here, sorry, of Khan talking with his wife.
Oh, you cunt! What a cunt! I can't believe that!
That's not a way to talk to your wife. Come on, mother of your kids and all that. This is disgusting. But so you guys, you're saying if Kell Brook and Khan were to tango right now, you're picking Kell Brook by KO?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take Brook to knock him out. Now it depends where the fight's at, man. If it's at 147 and Brook has to struggle to get 147, it could turn out a little different. But if it's at a comfortable weight, let's say 150. Let's say they fought at 152, somewhere around there, the catch weight.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brook laces him up eventually.
Yeah, you might get it.
Jesus, that's interesting. Here's the thing we've talked about before, though. We've talked about this before. Khan has never been outboxed before, so if he's gonna lose, like you guys are saying, against Brook, it's gonna be by stoppage.
Correct.
So you don't see Kell Brook
I disagree with the outbox thing. I disagree with that somewhat. I mean, he got outboxed when he got fucking countered and put to sleep. Well, not put to sleep, but basically the fight was over with Danny Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
They were exchanging punches. Say that again.
Apology. Yeah.
He can't out boxing though. Just hitting really hard.
Yeah, that's like what Apology is saying, that he didn't get outboxed. He just got hit really hard. But recognize he's coming from the point of view that if he did catch him with that counter shot, then that means he was able to successfully outbox him. But I'm talking about
throughout the duration of a fight, like just outbox him and then knock him out.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like, to me, I'm saying is he's never been outboxed in a 12-round fight. Forget the Lamont Peterson fight. That was very, very close. I had Khan winning that one. He's never been he's never been comprehensively outboxed. So that's my point.
I agree with that.
Oh, we got another clip. We got another clip of Khan talking with his wife. I think they're talking about Anthony Joshua.
You enjoy sucking him off?
Yes.
You like his cock?
I love it.
Okay, come on, it's a family show. What?
I mean, I can imagine that happening.
You can imagine that happening? That's nasty, man. Absolutely nasty. FNC bot says...
BDA, not stop it, BDA. I meant the scene with Khan talking to his wife.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Off it.
Well, that's the clip. That's an official clip.
You know what I meant.
First of all, Apology, don't tell me what I know or don't know, okay? But yeah, it's an official clip. It's an official clip that we've got exclusively here on BDA Live. Oh, and by the way, we got more. Can you believe that?
Like him coming in your face.
Yes!
What does it taste like?
Oh my goodness gracious! And then here's Amir Khan saying goodbye to his wife after he leaves the house for a night out or something.
You fucked up slag.
What is the word slag? Where did that originate? What does that even mean? A slag?
Basically a slut.
A slut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you don't put a ringer. You don't put a ring around a slut's finger, man. You're just asking for trouble. That's all I'm gonna say.
Put a ring around anyone's finger.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to go there.
we know Apology's position on marriage. He doesn't go there.
He doesn't go there. He doesn't go anywhere near a woman. That's the problem. This whole fucking MGTOW thing is driving him nuts.
I see Apology like meeting the girl, and he's like, "Look, I want to have some fun with you, but You're gonna have to do it in the other room. I'm gonna be in the other side of the room.
What? To do it in the
I'm gonna
other
be in
room?
one side of the room. You're gonna be. We have to do it like apart from each other, okay?
Wait. Is apology, man? Is your problem with women from the hygiene standpoint, or the fact that you don't want to go anywhere near them because you're MGTOW?
It's pretty much everything, really. Not to sound like bitter or anything. It's just the whole system and the fact that basically talking any bad or even looking at women, you can get accused.
Well, I didn't say anything about bitter. I didn't say anything about being bitter. You said that. You said that.
No,
I think I know what he's talking about.
No, you don't.
He's talking about today's atmosphere of this hyper new feminist wave that they just it's all about being against men, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, there is a lot of that going on right now. That's for sure. I'm not going to argue that. Absolutely, I agree with you guys on that. Reese Mack says, similar to the scene in Raging Bull when Jake was asking his wife if she slept with his brother. Yeah, that was an intense scene right there.
You son of a bitch!
That's a quote from Raging Bull. Listen, I mean, recognize you've been through the ringer. I mean, you don't think it's not as bad as Apology Man says, right?
Well, I mean, in America, it's not that bad, although it's getting pretty ridiculous. I heard like in Canada where you guys are at, it's definitely like it's there. I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson, so at least from some of his lectures, there's been like hate speech that's there's certain things you can't say. You can go to jail for it.
Mm-hmm.
In the UK, it definitely seems like they're getting a lot of that shit as well. So I mean, in America, I can only speak from America's point of view. There are some people that over-exaggerate, although I can't blame them. You know, now, the atmosphere in the UK, I can't speak for, and what's going on in Canada as well. But in America, I can understand a guy like Apology would probably see what's happening in America a little bit less as bad as what's going on in the UK, but would still maybe make the same choices to stay away from certain women. Maybe he would break it down to there's certain women in certain areas that I would not, he probably would stay away from. But it's hard. It's really hard to say because I'm not over there. I can only go by what's being reported.
That's right.
Right, what's being reported. So, but yeah, the atmosphere, you could feel it. I mean, you could feel it in, especially in New York. Shit, I mean, New York is getting really bad. Like, there's certain things you can't say. You just cannot. Don't talk about the gays. You'll get crucified. That's it. And this new angry feminist movement, I hate men, is pretty big over here in New York as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like in Manhattan, not just Manhattan, but all the downtown areas, like in downtown Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan especially. There's that atmosphere that women hate men. And
well, it's a blue state.
Be careful.
It's a blue state. I mean, it's all a bunch of most of them are yuppies, and they like
absolutely.
They like to virtue signal, and it's all about being open to everything, every new thing out there.
A real man don't find it offensive. No way. We're real men in here.
That's right. This is BDA. That's what BDA is.
X right there, right? I think that's X right there.
It sounds like X. That's right.
Sounds like him.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you.
I'm sorry too. It's okay. No problem.
Okay.
That's it. Like, if somebody says something that offends you, just, take it in stride and go back to what you were doing. Mighty Claire says the UK is fine. It's only the mad leftists on the BBC. I live in the north of England, and it's still like the 1970s in here. I don't know if that's a good thing there. Chris Gonzalez says...
1970s were still fucked. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What'd you say?
1970s, that's when it was starting to pick up speed. whole
think so?
feminist wave. So I don't know if it's still that good, but it's better than like central and north of England.
Like I was saying, it's all about where you are. Like New York, absolutely, it's gonna be more PC, and like San Francisco, forget about it. Montreal, it has its. Toronto is actually, I think I've heard it. It's worse than Montreal. But look, at the end of the day, we got our own little thing here where we can say, or at least try to be like we let you guys say whatever you want. Why not? I mean, what's the? I don't see what the problem is.
I am a victim of masculinity. And
oh, come on now! Please don't say that. Which one of you said that?
I respect everyone's opinion. If you don't agree with me, then whatever. It's the internet. Like, I'll just go my way. You go your way. You do your thing. I'll do my thing.
Well, Recognize said that he's been listening to a lot of Jordan Peterson, and Jordan Peterson said one of the things that makes the most sense. I mean, I don't know how anybody can argue against what he said, which was that if you want to arrive to something resembling the truth, you're gonna risk offending some people. You can't shut
the truth, yeah.
Yeah, you can't shut it down, man.
People don't want to hear it.
Yeah. You want to know how many times I've been offended by what somebody says? Like, not offended as in, oh, I'm going to write a letter, but just like, oh, that was in bad taste. Like, for example, okay, listen, Felix Trinidad, Hopkins throwing, like we were talking about earlier, him throwing the Puerto Rican flag down twice. Yes, it's disrespectful to a nation, but at the end of the day, if you look at it from an abstract, you know what? I'm not even going to make that argument. All I'm going to say is this. If somebody says something that you don't like, or that inherently you go, oh, that's at least try to think about why you find it offensive. At least then you have a good reason, and you're not just reacting out of some back of your mind thing that was instilled in you because since you were a kid by your parents or by your school or by your you know what I mean? Like, don't take everything so seriously.
It didn't trigger me. It goes to show you that people are different, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was born and raised till I was 13 in Puerto Rico. You know who was offended by that? Like, from my family's point of view, my brother, who's never been there at that point of his life. He's never actually went to Puerto Rico, never. He doesn't know a lick of Spanish as well. I'm like, why are you offended by that?
Yeah, what's why is he getting offended? Yeah, like, see, that's the thing. That's what we're talking about. Prime example, like, you're not even from. See, that's the thing. It's usually the people that aren't part of a certain group. Like, for example, with black people. Black people complain just like any other ethnic group, but it's sometimes it seems as if it's white people that are complaining more for the black people about when
when they do that.
Yeah, oh, it's disgusting. It's like they're trying to tell the black people, see how good we are, see how we like you, we're good people. Like, come on, just speak through your actions and not through your words, because that's the most important thing. It's like these people that always, oh, don't say this joke about black people, blah blah, and then when they see a black person walking towards them in the sidewalk, they cross to the other side of the street. I mean, that to me is more of an insult than if somebody says a word. Then again, that's just me.
I prefer honest faces to someone who pretends to be something else.
Absolutely. If somebody came to me and said, listen, I'm racist against Mexicans, I said, okay, at least I know where you stand on that. But if it's one of those with a smile, like, oh, I love Mexico. Tortillas? Have you ever had tortillas? Well, what do you think? I'm from Mexico, you stupid motherfucker. Like, and then when you're not around, that's when they start talking about Mexicans. Like, oh, Mexicans are lazy, Mexicans are this, Mexicans are that. They never give us credit for left hooks to the body.
I remember one time there was like this real country ass black dude, and he said to me, you know, I never liked them Rican niggas. I said, yeah, I never liked them black dudes as well.
What? That's a good. But listen, anybody that's racist, we all know it stems from ignorance and from low self-esteem. So right there, those people are already starting from the bottom. So I don't pay too much attention to what any one racist has to say or what they have to say. What else is going on?
I've gotten bored of it to the point where I don't even care anymore. I've gotten so bored of it.
There you go.
It's really annoying.
That's the spirit, man. That's the spirit. And speaking of getting bored, we've all said that we're bored with the whole Joshua Wilder thing. But let me just end on a note, because we do have to go. But just ending on a note, Canelo Alvarez and Triple G, they're saying that the hate is real. Hence, what they're not going to have a face-off, like HBO face-off or a press conference, I don't think this is a ploy to sell more pay-per-views. I really do think Triple G got under Canelo's skin with all that whole PED talk.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did. He hurt. I'm telling you, man. When it comes to this kid, he's sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
He's very sensitive. He's a very sensitive man. He has like a divas. I just don't like people like that. I don't respect them, man. I don't respect people that get triggered so easily.
Mm-hmm.
He's acting like a woman.
Right, he's acting like a little bitch.
By the way, we have to emphasize
you acting like a little bitch right now. You know where that's from?
No. Where's that from?
Menace to Society.
Oh man, I've never seen that movie. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. Can you believe it?
You acting like a little bitch right now. Now these motherfuckers smoke your... No, go ahead.
But you know what? Let me just, first of all, I would just want to say that people, recognize an apology, said, oh, he's acting like a bitch. There's nothing wrong with acting like a woman, unless you're a man. In which case, if you're a woman, you act like a woman. Yeah. But if you're a man acting like a woman, there's something wrong with you. And I think that's the case with Canelo right here. He says, by the way, he plans to retire at 35. Gee, I've heard that a whole bunch of times from other fighters. Oh, I'm going to retire before I'm 30. I'm going to retire before I take a loss. And then you see guys like Roy Jones who said they were going to retire with all their faculties intact, and they end up getting knocked out 5 times in a row and shit like that. David Haye, who said he was going to retire before he was 32, was still fighting up until this year. So you guys buy that when a boxer says, I'm going to retire by this time frame?
I mean, it all depends, man. Nothing works out exactly the way, a lot of these fighters think it's going to. At 35, maybe, maybe he's done before that. He's been a pro since he was 15.
That's true.
I think he's 26, 27?
Yeah, somewhere
27
around.
years old. So he's 27, right? He's been boxing for 15 years. Oh, 13 years, excuse me. Yeah, 13 years. So he's been doing it for 13 years. I mean, is he going to fight till he's 35? It's possible. It's possible, but will he fight past that? It all depends on if he still loves the game the way he loves it now, or the money's still there. It's a lot that plays into it, or he needs money. That's another factor. What if he's mishandling his dough right now, the money he's making now? He doesn't seem like he's a guy that will have money issues. It doesn't seem that way, but you never know.
That's a good point. That's a good
point.
Buying
a lot of Mexican beef. And
he could be buying a lot of horses, long dick horses. I don't know why they have to be long dick horses, but it's part of the joke. But here's the other thing is like when these. What's that?
Buying a lot of horse.
Probably the horse. Is that what you said?
Buying a lot of horse.
But recognize, you understand what he's saying? I can't hear what he's saying.
He's saying Canelo likes long horses.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No. Sorry. Can you guys hear me good?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, I said horse.
Oh, horse. Yeah, like his mentor, De La Hoya. Yeah. All right, come on, what's going on? By the way,
De La Hoya.
What's his name? Well, yeah, Canelo. Look, listen, he's a good fighter. I was gonna say I like his work ethic, because you don't get to be the good fighter he is without work ethic. But then again, he did test positive for clenbuterol, so you have to assume maybe he got there through, cheating. Maybe he got to these levels. Do you guys think Canelo, by the way, is a real fighter, like Chino Maidana, in the sense that he does love to fight?
No, I think he loves to fight. Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that he's a diva. He's like one of those guys who has like a bully's mentality. They love to fight, but they can't handle a loss, or they can't understand, like, it's like, I'm the A side, what the fuck is going on? I should be able to. Maybe he's learning how to deal with that now. Like, maybe this is a learning lesson for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think he's just one of those kind of guys that's willing to take the victory no matter what the circumstances are. And when he does lose a fight, it fucks with him. You know, it fucks with his brain. Like what happened with Mayweather. Mayweather A-side the shit out of him. I mean, if you really think about it, he did. You know, he made him like. I saw that video by Bucho where he dropped down to 152. You could see, man, that shit. Look at the difference between him then and now. And sometimes these crazy Mayweather fans will be like, you know, Mayweather showed the blueprint of how to beat Canelo. I'm like, Canelo was 22 when he beat him, bro. And he was drained. What blueprint? Is that the blueprint? Drain him? And that's how you beat him? Like, I'm talking about, do you think Mayweather would beat him the same Canelo that was in the ring with Triple G? I doubt that very much. I doubt it very much.
Wait. So you're saying you don't think Mayweather from, say, 2012, 2013?
13, excuse me.
Yeah, you don't think he can beat the Canelo that fought Triple G?
No.
Whoa.
No way.
I think you're underrating Mayweather a little bit there.
No, I'm not underrating Mayweather. He's not built enough. Listen, you got to be a man to beat a guy like Canelo. You got to be a man. And Floyd is not man enough to beat him.
What is he, a woman?
Even at that point. No, he's just not man enough, that's all.
Okay, here's, for anybody that's trying to like read between the lines what Recognize saying, this is what he's saying essentially about Mayweather.
He's a fag!
Alright, see, that's not, we don't appreciate that type of language around these parts, right?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying...
I just heard you say it.
Look, Mayweather was the A side, and Canelo was compromised. Look, he was made to be... I think Mayweather would have beat him at 154, right? If they would have just came in 154 versus each other,
right?
Mayweather would have beat him. But he needed a little extra for Canelo. He made Canelo go down. Remember, this is the same guy who fought Cotto at 154, right? He fought De La Hoya at 154 pounds. Why the hell you need to fight Canelo at 152? He wanted that little security. He's like, look, I'm hearing this guy's having problems making 154. So let's drop him down a little bit. And by the time he got to 152, I mean, listen, don't take my word for it. Take the next hero's word for it that they love besides Floyd Mayweather, which is Andre Ward. Andre Ward said, I'm picking Floyd by a knockout. They're like, oh yeah, why? He said because Canelo looks dead at the weigh-in. He goes, that looks bad.
So if Dre said that, there's probably some truth to it.
Well, I mean, Ward said it.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, like he basically looked at him and, dude, he didn't look good. He didn't look good at the weigh-in. Now, with that being said, I think that even if they fought at 154, I think still the outcome would have been Mayweather wins. He wins the fight, right? And with a drained Canelo, he still couldn't stop him. You know, he couldn't drop him. Look, Mayweather's a great fighter in terms of, you know, going 12 rounds and not getting hit. Put Canelo that fought Triple G with that same weight, with the same experience. Dude, he's gonna beat Mayweather. He's gonna run Mayweather out of the ring and basically win on points. Mayweather's not beating him.
That's a tough one for me. I disagree, man. But you know what? First of all, Mark Funk in the chat room says Canelo looks autistic. He does look a little bit on the spectrum. Let's just put it that way. Oh, King Bucho's on the line. King, are you there? Calling King Bucho, are you there? Bucho. I think he wants
to start from drinking all week.
I think he wants us to play his intro, man.
The king is here.
You can have Kenny Bayless as a referee in every single fight, so you're all happy.
The king is here.
Butch, are you there? Ah, fuck. All right, listen. Recognize.
Wake up, Richo. Wake up.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's face down on a pile of his own vomit right now. He ain't waking up.
Probably.
But Apology, what do you think? Do you agree with Recognize? Do you think Mayweather 2013 would lose to the current version of Canelo, the super version of Canelo?
It'll be close. It'll be a close fight. I can see Canelo winning, especially if Floyd doesn't put out, like, doesn't throw a lot of punches. Because he, in his prime, he didn't throw a lot of punches. He threw less, even more as he grew older. So I can see him losing that fight. And another thing, if you watch the Canelo fight, Floyd was biting the feints really bad. Like, really bad. I was surprised them.
Good point.
How badly he was falling for them.
Good point.
And Canelo was drained, so he couldn't, like, capitalize off of that. But him being strong at 160, I can see him feinting Floyd and hitting him hard, either to the head or to the body. So yeah, I can see Canelo winning, basically.
You know, it's interesting. Again, good point about the feints. Those were throwing Mayweather off. And it's not like he beat Canelo up. But that being said, if it's a boxing match, I don't see... I see it being closer today than it would have been... than it was in 2013, but I don't see Canelo outboxing Mayweather, like the 2013 version of Mayweather. I just don't. It's a boxing match against, and that's what Mayweather wants at the end of the day. And I don't see him.
I think he chases. What happens is this is what happens. Mayweather throws punches to try to keep him off. He chases Mayweather down. He's the Mayweather is not the future anymore. And they give the fight to Canelo, and well deserved in my book, because running to me is not part of boxing. It's just not. It's not. I don't value that. It holds no weight for me. Like, you got to be hitting your man with punches to try to hurt him, damage him, do something. Not like, faggot punches.
Oh.
Please stay off me, like, oh, excuse my language. Like, throw punches. Just
triggered.
I thought I was talking out, in a private conversation. This is YouTube, But I don't respect fighters that, like, are just like playing tag, you're it. Okay, no, you can't hit me. Ha ha ha. I win. Nah. This is. I hold more value to the guy who's trying to make the fight.
So you're saying that if Mayweather does fight that type of fight again, like if he were to have like the 2013 version of Mayweather against the 2017-18 version of Canelo, if Mayweather tries to fight that pity pat style, you don't think it's enough? But when have you ever seen Canelo cutting off the ring and putting pressure on a guy?
No, he doesn't even have to do that. Just counterpunch his ass. That's it. Just counterpunch him.
I think that's easier said than done. I mean, counterpunching Mayweather.
Look, if I'm hitting you with like fucking fly shots, right? Right? And think about Canelo today, how he's built. It just I could just set traps. Like, all right, I'm gonna make you think that you can just throw those little shots, and what I'll do is I'll punch right when you're throwing those punches and beat them that way. Like, my punches are gonna be harder than yours because all you're doing is just like flickering shots. All you're doing is flickering. There's a big difference between Canelo today versus Canelo of 2013. I mean, there's just a big difference. There's more confidence on his side. He has a bit more arrogance, about him. He's not going to get beat, A side versus Mayweather. That's not going to happen, right? Which means Mayweather will never fight him. So there's going to be a lot of things. I'm just talking hypothetically. If he was to say, you know what, there's a lot of money at stake, I'm willing to take this fight. Yeah, I just think that Canelo walks him down, beats him pretty easily.
Well, there you go, guys.
I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be much of a problem because he's the bigger guy, and he's pretty fast himself, and he has boxing skills. And I don't think Mayweather separates. he doesn't separate himself from his opponents even when he had the upper hand. He beats you by 12-round unanimous decision. He doesn't, hurt you, beat you up, have you scared. That's never been his MO. Now that you have to deal with a guy who's naturally bigger than you, comfortable at his weight, in his prime, he's not beating that. He's not beating that Canelo.
I think
That's my opinion.
I think everything you said about what Canelo would do to Mayweather, I think that's what Golovkin would do to Mayweather. I don't see Canelo doing it. But listen, at the end of the day, a rematch is never going to happen. So I guess we'll just have to leave it at that. But it's interesting that people in the chat, for example, John Gonzalez says Canelo tried to drain Triple G as well. Tarisius Fever says Canelo learned all his diva A-side stuff from Floyd. The Shepherd of Sun says, I wonder if Butch is going to do a football show. Real News says Canelo thinks he's Mayweather.
That I agree with. He does think he's Mayweather.
Yeah, nowadays he does. John Gonzalez says Canelo tried to fight Triple G like he was Mayweather and failed. He lost clearly. He thought he was going to do to Mayweather. He thought he was going to do what Mayweather did to him. Mark Funk says every fight should end with a knockout. Yeah, ideally. Michael Polico says, I'm not a Mayweather fan, but he'd beat Canelo over and over, 10 out of 10. It might be closer, but Canelo will lose. Canelo ran Mayweather counterpunch, outscored his opponent. Yes, he was boring, but he still beat him. Corruption in Boxing says, totally disagree. I think Alvarez has no speed of foot to get anywhere near Floyd. He has never chased anyone and stopped an opponent. And Michael Polico says, Canelo is stronger, but Triple G put pressure on Canelo. Canelo was not Mayweather. Anyway, listen. Mayweather Canelo 2 is never going to happen. So
yeah, it's never going to happen. And I agree with one of the guys' comment that he said that Alvarez has no speed, no foot speed, he basically doesn't have the footwork or the speed to get near fucking Mayweather, right? But there's other ways to beat guys like that, man. You set traps, man.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo's good for that, man. I mean, look at the trap that he set for Khan.
Mm-hmm.
And he just, when you don't respect somebody's power and you're super strong, you feel confident. There's no A side. Listen, it's like, okay, yeah, Mayweather, you want this fight? Yeah, you're gonna have to fight him at 160 and whatever fucking way he decides to come in the ring. That's the deal. That's the package deal. He fucks Mayweather up, man. I don't want to hear that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Mayweather, I'm tired of people making him sound like he's this fucking. He's not a killer. He's not a killer. He's not. So if you're not a killer, then what are you? You're a finesse boxer that could be killed. That's it. That's how boxing goes down. There's really not that much middle. Like you can say, well, Mayweather has a little bit of toughness and therefore, he can outbox and pity pat a guy who's steroid up to the gills. You know what I'm saying? And feels confident. Yeah. No, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is he's going to pity pat Canelo. He'll pity pat him. Canelo will feel confident to set traps in the middle, make Mayweather feel comfortable, and counterpunch his ass. It's not that hard, man.
You know what? I understand where you're coming from because, I mean, if you think about it, when Mayweather fought Cotto gave him hell. So did Jose Luis Castillo. And later on in his career, when he fought hard-punching guys like Maidana and Pacquiao, who I would agree would fall into the category that you described of killers, what did he do? He moved more than usual. He clutched. He would shoot one shot, pot shot, and then grab and just stall and do enough to win the decision. So it is a good point. But then again, nobody was ever able to ice him, essentially. I don't think he gets stopped. First of all, did you say he gets stopped by Canelo or that Canelo wins the decision in a rematch?
No, what I think Mayweather would never listen. And this is who Mayweather is. It's not me dissing him.
Right.
Mayweather doesn't have the balls to fight a man toe-to-toe. He just doesn't have it. Meaning to initiate it, right? Now, if you give him no choice, like what Cotto did, right? He will fight. He'll stand his ground. The comparison that I'm making of Canelo today versus Canelo that he fought in 2013 is that I'm taking the hypothetical route that what if Canelo was allowed to do whatever he wanted to feel confident going in that ring? Anything he wanted, right? Fight the fight at 160, rehydrate to 175. You know, basically is giving the wink, wink. Hey, listen, this fight's up for grabs. Whoever wins, wins. So do your thing. You know? I think he wins under those circumstances. I think he beats Floyd Mayweather because why? Mayweather's not going to hurt him. If you don't hurt Canelo, Canelo doesn't stop punching. He's going to keep punching, and he's going to try to counterpunch his way to victory over Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather's going to run and pop shot. The judges are not going to give the fight to Mayweather versus Canelo doing that. We already seen that Mayweather clearly beats him in the first fight, and one judge had it 6-6.
Yeah, but that was
actually. Yeah, but what I'm trying to tell you is that if Mayweather starts running, giving away rounds, which he will, right, against a big, strong man like Canelo, which he will, he's good. What's going to happen is the judge is going to give the fight to Canelo, and if he decides to stand and fight Canelo, right, he gets hurt. He's just not. When you can't punch a man and hurt them, you're at a disadvantage, man. It's just that's the rule of combat sport, man. It's just a simple rule. If I punch you and it has no effect on you, and you punch me and it has effect on me, it's gonna make me retreat. If I stand there and trade with you, I'm gonna get the worst of it. That's what's gonna happen.
That's actually what I thought was going to happen that's what I was thinking the first time. Like, oh, if he tries to box Canelo, Canelo can box with him. And if he tries to trade, he's going to get knocked out. And then none of those things happen. So, but look, you present a very good case about the style. You're not just saying, oh, Canelo beats him because he's too strong. Like, you're actually going into details about why you would think, what would offset Mayweather and all that. So it's a very good case that you present. And again, unfortunately, we'll never get to see it. Holy shit, what the fuck's going on in that city?
Sorry about that.
But yeah, we're never gonna get to see it, because it's again.
No, I mean it's never gonna happen. I mean, it's just an interesting topic to bring up, and I think again, it's just hypothetically speaking because they're not gonna fight. First of all, you're not gonna get the same Mayweather of 20. Look, could we agree the fucking Mayweather that fought Conor McGregor will get his head blown off by Canelo now?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He would get, if he ever entertained that style to fight Canelo like that, he'll get bodied. He would get put it this way, he would get knocked out the way Khan got knocked out.
Right. Well, look,
he'll get put to sleep because he's an older man, and maybe that's never been Mayweather's style, the way he fought Conor McGregor.
Yeah, look, a 40-year-old Mayweather against a 27-year-old Canelo, it's another story. Yeah. But 2013 Mayweather, again, I gotta disagree with you on this one, recognize. But you know what? There's Real News agrees with you, but Quincy Pignola in the chat room says that Cotto got his ass whooped against Mayweather. He did take a lot of punishment, but he gave it right back, man. Mayweather had
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Mayweather had to.
I don't agree with that, man.
Well, hold on. Let me say. Let me present.
A close fight.
Let me present my case.
That was a close fight. Yeah, that was a close fight. But I think what he's talking about when he stood his ground in those later rounds, he was definitely getting the better of it. He was hurting Cotto, staggered him a few times. Now the fight in total, it was a good fight. It was a close fight. I think 7-5, 8-4, one of those kind of fights. A very close 8-4 for Mayweather. You know, but yeah, Cotto's a different kind of fighter than Canelo is. He's a finesse fighter too, who has power. But the difference with him is he's got power in his hands, and he has more confidence that he can win by hurting you, right, out punching you, out damaging you,
right.
Type of fighter. It's just that. He's not as strong as Canelo was. Look, Canelo, I agree. Canelo, there's things that he does. His footwork's not that good. He's not fast enough to get to a Mayweather. However, he'll be too. Just my opinion, he'll be too strong.
All right.
He
Well,
would've been-
we're going
I
back to
think
the.
he could outwork Mayweather as well.
right
That could get him the nod.
because he when you don't fear anything, man. If this is boxing, if I don't fear nothing from you, man, there's a good chance I can outwork you. There's a very good chance.
I don't think Canelo has ever outworked anybody. He mostly gets it done through counter punching and selective punching. But anyway, listen.
Yeah, but it's Floyd Mayweather, so.
All right, I think you guys are. I don't know. Listen, I disagree. But what do you want from me? But again, with the Cotto Mayweather fight, I agree with Recognize. The overall fight, it was one of Mayweather's toughest because he had to push himself. He took a lot of shots, a lot of jabs. He was bleeding from the nose. And I think he even told Shane Mosley after the fight, he said, "Damn, why didn't you tell me Cotto was so tough? I wouldn't have fought the motherfucker," or something like that. It was one of his toughest fights. He had to push himself just to try to keep Cotto off him. And you know what?
And guess what? That's one of his best fights. That's my favorite fight from him.
Yeah.
When he pushed Mayweather, he shows a little bit of dog in him.
Mm-hmm.
That and the Maidana fight. That's my favorite fights from him.
Yeah, the first Maidana fight.
Yeah, of course.
But
the second one, it was good to see Mayweather get hurt.
You know, when he screamed like a woman.
Personally.
When he screamed like a woman when he pretended to be bit.
No, when he actually got hurt with the right hand.
Well, I think the Mayweather hate is starting to creep in a little bit from you here, Apology.
No, he's TPE, man. Greatest ever.
I'm sorry, too. It's okay, no problem.
Okay. All right, listen.
I'm sorry.
Wait, hold on. I gotta play the whole fucking.
No. You insulted him a little bit. You got a little out of order yourself.
No, I didn't insult him. I didn't insult him.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You insulted him a little bit. I like how Billy Batson goes, "No, I didn't insult him." Like you clearly insulted the guy. Like, but that's why I love that scene because it just captures the essence of drunk fights. Just people out of their minds, you know. It's like they picking fights and then they tell them what happened and they go, "No, I didn't insult him. I didn't insult anybody. No.
No, I didn't insult anybody.
Give us a drink. Come on, give us a drink." Like, no, I think you've had enough. But look, listen, guys. I want to thank Apology and Recognize. Thank you for being here. I don't know what the fuck happened, man. I think everybody's one of those summer Saturdays that people just don't want to spend it indoors. I want to spend it indoors as much as I can because of the humidity. Tomorrow, by the way, it's going to feel like it's 43 degrees Celsius over here. I don't know how much that is in Fahrenheit.
Tomorrow
it's pretty hot and green.
How is it over there, Apology?
It's like 27 to 30 in the morning and like 20 in the evening.
That's not so bad. Then again, remember, Recognize, we're talking in Celsius, so...
Celsius, yeah.
None of that...
Yeah, Celsius.
It's going to be 100 and... not Celsius, degrees. It's going to be 105 in New York.
Well, there you go. So, guys, I want to thank you again for joining us. Check out Recognize the Matrix's website, YouTube channel. We're going to put the link in the description. Check out Apology Man's channel on the description as well. Have you been watching, by the way, Precise Puncher's channels, videos that he's been doing so far?
Yeah, I've been watching it.
Yeah,
I haven't comment on it, but it's just good, like this good topics, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't.
I like the topics he's talking about.
I didn't watch the first two he did about the vegan. Like he's going after some vegan guy, and he's pointing out all the fallacies and all that. I don't understand why Precise is all not concerned, but why, you know, if somebody's a vegan, we've talked about this on the show with him about how vegans and atheists are in the same stratosphere of they always have to try to impose, like they always have to try to tell everybody, "Oh, I'm a vegan, oh, I'm an atheist." Like, let them go. But again, Precise does bring, just for as an intellectual exercise of analyzing why vegans aren't correct in everything they say. It's a pretty interesting video, so I would suggest people check out Precise Puncher's new videos, non-boxing related, if you haven't already. He makes for an interesting listen. And
Precise is he's a goat eater like myself. We eat goats. We drink their blood.
Well,
we got something in common.
Yeah, he did that video about the blood, and it's interesting because Precise was saying in his video, because one of the arguments that vegans make is that they say, well, if you eat meat, you're eating a living being who feels pain, and therefore that's wrong. and they always say that. But then Precise made a good point. I think that's the point he made. I hope he corrects me if I'm wrong, but that vegans eat plants, but there's been some tests done that show that plants do feel pain as well. I'm serious. Check them out. Check them out.
That's true. I've seen those as well. It's not
they're living beings,
pain, but they give off like aromas and stuff when they're being attacked to warn other plants.
Exactly. Yeah, those type of tests.
Look, I haven't delved into that, so I won't give a comment. But that seems fucking strange. Plants like warning other plants. Like, how do they do that? Like, they can't move, right?
They give off an aroma.
They give off an aroma.
Could be true, man. It could be true.
Yeah, but listen. But the point is
it's like this whole flat Earth thing, and look, I think flat Earth is a crazy, but there's a possibility. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I think the world is Earth is round, and or it's whatever you want to call it, right? But could it be possible that it's flat? Never know.
Exactly. You never know.
Never know.
Of course, Boxing Style was the one that set everybody off when he started. When people thought that he did believe that the Earth was flat, and then he explained that no, he doesn't believe that it's flat, but that he gave the idea some credence before he.
In other words, he thinks that there's a possibility. Look, I don't believe anything the government tells me, man. I just don't.
That's because you're Puerto Rican.
I'm not saying that's one of them. I'm just saying that's a lot of things they'd say. I kind of like go whatever the media tells me. I go the opposite.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, that's why we have that.
When the media says that's the bad guy, I look at that bad guy and say, I have a feeling that's a good guy right there.
That's my hero.
I have a feeling the person's good, man. Yeah.
So when that Cuban guy that kept a bunch of women in his basement was caught, and they started badmouthing him for being a sexual predator, did you guys go, nah, there's some other angle going on here. This guy probably just took him in, gave him a home.
He's been set up.
He's been set up, yeah.
Yeah, you weren't there. You weren't there, BJ. You don't know.
Exactly.
It was probably some other Cuban guy, not him.
Another Cuban guy. Oh, he was set up, like Apology said.
Right.
There was a third Cuban guy in the grassy knoll.
There was a third Cuban, yeah. It was like a third Cuban guy hanging out in the weeds, and he did all of it. And the poor guy in the news is the one that had to take the fall.
Well, look, Real News says at the end of the day, I'm gonna eat what I want, and so should everybody else. Does that mean Does that mean you're gonna eat human meat if it comes to that, Real News? Because it's about what.
I don't know, man.
It's not. I mean, if I'm starving, listen. When you're starving or when you're in trouble, like your natural instincts take over, and sometimes you can't control that.
So there you have it. Apology Man is a cannibal. He's probably going to be joining Pavel soon. Pavel, who's doing the human centipede. That's the thing. I was reading the other day. I was rewatching the last podcast, and when Pavel had some mean words to say about 78 Sports, and then Chris Gonzalez goes, Pavel has 78 on his human centipede list, and I'm if he does a human centipede thing, he's gonna fucking have 78 Sports in it. He's probably gonna be the one in the middle or something. Fucking bunch of psychos in this podcast, man.
That's what makes it the best, man. That's what you need. You need.
He will feed the entire family. Like, he has a lot of fat and meat in him.
Maidana could probably feed a lot of people the way he's looking now.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals out here.
Yeah, that's what goes through my mind every time after I do this show.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals out here.
But what do you want from me? We try to give
I like how
everybody...
this killer's trying to rationalize that he's a killer, right?
Right, yeah. I'm dealing with... Hey, I'm dealing with degenerate animals over here. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Degenerates around here. That's like rationalizing your evil deeds 101.
Exactly. And by the way, the Shepherd of Sons is saying Pavel is a vampire. That's actually an interesting theory because we've never talked to him during the day. It's always at night where he's at in Poland. I think it's like about 2 in the morning or 3. So that's an interesting, and it's always dark where he's at. His room is always dark. You always see him with a hoodie on. I think he's a vampire.
I think during the day he sleeps and at night he's up,
Yeah, that's what I think. Again, a vampire. Oh, did people fall off? What's going on here?
No,
oh, Reckless, you're still there. Okay, yeah, I think it's apology. Chris Gonzalez says Pavel displays his scalpel collection on his wall. Yeah, he's got a bunch of scalpels there, like all shiny and bright, you know, stainless steel scalpels. Cool. No, yeah, Pavel's a cool guy. All right, listen, guys. So again, I want to thank you for joining us. You made this show very entertaining. Otherwise, it would have been just me blabbering on and on. And the fucking story, recognize that 9/11 story. Whew, fucking hardcore, yeah, man. Fucking hardcore. Not being able to get to your half brother, and then about whether he was alive or dead. Oh, jeez, that must have been hell for a couple of hours.
Yeah, man. That was especially like his mom calling me constantly. Did you hear from him yet? Like that was kind of, that was a little eerie. I was like, oh shit. I was like, yeah, I'm sure he's fine. I kept saying, oh, I'm sure he's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Apology would have kept his cool as well, right? Apology.
Of course, bro.
There you go. That's right. By the way, is that an urban legend about the guy who was having an affair? And he used to work at the World Trade Center, and then one day he was with his mistress.
Oh, that's true. No, I know exact. Oh my, that's so fucking. Okay, listen. Without giving up too much, okay?
Right.
I can't. Wow, I'm gonna hit you on instant messaging and tell you a little story about that. But that's 100% true.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually knew the guy?
That's 100% true. That's
holy. Oh, come on! You can't say that.
I don't know him. I'll clear. I don't know the guy. I know who he is, but I don't know him. Like we don't. Yeah.
Well, like people in the chat room are saying they want more Recognize the Matrix stories.
No, he fucked up. He fucked up big time. Like he called. Okay, do you understand what he did, right?
Yeah.
You understand what he did?
Right.
He's in a hotel room. I'll leave it like that. He's in a hotel room with another bitch, right?
Oh.
He overslept. He took the day off from work. He overslept. Called his wife without turning on the news, nothing. And said, baby, I'm at work. I'm at the World Trade Center. He said, that's impossible. The World Trade Center just collapsed. And he's like, what?
What dumbass?
You possibly cannot be at work, so then you must be fucking lying. Yeah, there's no way.
Oh man. Alright, so did people get the story in the chat room? Did you understand the story? This motherfucker was 9/11 happening. He didn't tell. He's not at work. He's with his mistress. So he calls his wife. Hey, baby, everything's all right. And I'm at work. The whole fucking building's on fire. Like he's all relaxed there.
Recognize. Did he say I'm on the bottom floor? It's not bad in there.
I don't know. Okay, listen. This was so long ago. All I was told was that he called his wife. He says, "Babe, I'm at work. Okay, I can't. You know that I can't call you like that when I'm at work." And she said, "How the fuck are you at work? The World Trade Center is down." And he said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Told them what the fuck are you talking about?
You know what I would have done? I would have said, like, if she would have said the whole building's down, I would have gone, of course I know it's down. What do you think, I'm stupid? Like, you turn it around. You turn it around. Yeah. You're the one that gets mad, and you make her seem like she's the crazy one. Like, I know it's down. What do you think, I'm stupid?
I think he thought, like, she was crazy at that moment. Like, look, I'm just trying to, like, think about what his thought process was at that moment.
Right.
And he's probably listening to her say, how can you be at work when the fucking building's down? And he must have been like, down? What the fuck is this bitch talking about? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm at work. Stop bothering me. You know, like, I can't call you.
Keep saying that shit. Well, like FNC Bot said in the chat room, he says, moral of the story, always check for a terrorist attack before lying to your wife. Truer words have never been spoken, man. What a story. So there you guys have it, ending on a high note with that sensational story. Again, I want to recognize and apologize.
But I don't know the guy, just to let you know. I don't know who he is. I just know who he is. I just heard of him. That's it.
Oh, he's a legend. He's a legend in New York.
Well, I mean, he was like in the same field as me.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. He's in the same field as me, and when I heard that story, that man, that shit had us laughing for like months.
So it also made you step your game up. Like if you're gonna lie, you gotta check your information first.
I mean, I still got caught in the end, myself.
Right.
But that's why I have an ex-wife and now I have a current wife. But yeah, you just stupid things.
Learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
Some of the stupid things we'll say, man.
Hey, apology, man. He's not gonna learn from his mistakes because he's not gonna make any, right? He's not getting married.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. There you guys have it. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Recognize the Matrix. Apology, man. If you want to drop off now, I'm just gonna thank everybody in the chat room.
All right,
again,
man. We'll do the next one, BDA.
Yes, absolutely, man. We'll talk about the Ramirez fight and the undercard fight as well, which I'm telling you guys, it's probably going to be a good one. Most likely the, what's his name? Saucedo versus Sapavigna fight. Watch out for that one. That one's going to be interesting. Action fight. Don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out our Patreon page. Don't forget you can download the podcast now on Spreaker. I want to thank the Shepherd of Sons, Rook Davis, Real News, the Scholar B Major, Joey Ocean, Jay Perez, FNC Bot, Corruption in Boxing, Mark Funk, Boxing Fairy Tale, Tarsios for Fever, Alan Domirecki, Poe Johnson, who else here? Oh, Chris Gonzalez, John Gonzalez, they were here as well. Brandon White, Michael Polacco, that sounds a little too close to a racial slur for Polish people right there, let me tell you. Maybe you should change your name. Mean Machine Mash, The Fight Scout, Apology Man was in there as well, Reese Mac, Maddie Claire. You guys know who you are. You make this show the great show that it is, along with our panelists. More people should jump over. Usually we have too many people today. We only had 2, but it was perfect because it was a more compact show, a little bit more relaxed. So in that sense, there's a good side to everything. Mustache Cash Stash, by the way, shout out to him again. FNC Bot. Who else did I miss? Did I miss anybody? Hopefully I didn't. Again, thanks guys for joining us. We'll see you on the next one when we talk about the Ramirez fight. Maybe start previewing Usyk versus Gassiev a little bit more as well. Next week we have, just before we go... Oh, and check out, what's his name? The guy who fought last night. Rashidi Ellis. I'm gonna check out his fight from last night. I haven't seen it yet. Supposedly, Trap Media tells us to watch out for him, so we'll see if he makes it. Jose Ramirez fighting Danny O'Connor next week. Cavaliuskas is gonna be in there as well against Juan Carlos Abreu. So watch out for that one, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one, folks. Take care.